Give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach this day, the 5th chapter of John, the 39th verse. Henry, sit on your bum before you fall on your face.
Mar.
Sorry, that's not your bum. Sit on your bum.
Sit down. Sit down. Say no, but you gotta sit down. Okay?
All right. Search the scriptures, then to me think ye have eternal life, and they are they that testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another should come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only?
Go ahead. Keep going.
Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom you trust. For had you believed in Moses, you would have believed in me, for he wrote for me.
Go ahead.
If you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words?
So there it is. So again, now let's go back to where all this stuff. Well, one, let's revisit Deuteronomy 32 and 6, because I'm trying to finish everything we've been looking at for the last 4 weeks. Deuteronomy 32 and 6. And after that, it gave me Isaiah 64, I believe. That'd be about 64 and about verse 7. And after Isaiah 64 and 7, then Exodus 33. But Deuteronomy 32 and 6.
It said, do ye thus requite Yahuwah, O foolish people, and unwise?
Unwise.
Is not he thy father, than he that brought thee?
That what? He did what?
Is not he thy father that hath brought thee?
Brought thee or brought thee?
Bought thee.
He
Bought
purchased you.
Bought thee.
Purchased you. And see, we've been hitting all this stuff. He said he your what?
The Father.
Pause. Isaiah 9 and 6. Make it 9 and 3. See, that's one part of the equation that we haven't finished. We mentioned it. We didn't finish it. He said he's your father that purchased you. He bought you. He redeemed you. Whatever terminology you want to use. Ransom, all that. We done looked at it in different aspects, but we finna zero in and finish it out and move on to something else. He also said that he made you and established you. Also, in that same verse. We just didn't finish it. Go ahead.
Isaiah 9
and 3.
It says, thou hast multiplied the nation, and not increased the joy. They joy before thee according to the joy in harvest, and as men rejoice when they divide the spoil. For thou hast broken the yoke of his burden.
You brought what?
Broken the yoke of his burden, and the staff of his shoulder, and the rod of his oppressor. As the day
What is a rod? What does a rod symbolize? I don't know that, but it's also rule, discipline. Do you know what I'm saying? So pause, and we'll come right back. Ezekiel 18 and 1. Because who is the one who has the rod to be able to even oppress you in the first place? Because he say he broke the rod of your oppressor, right? Well, who is your oppressor? Is Elohim your oppressor? Absolutely not. He's not your oppressor. You know what I'm saying? So come on.
The word of Yahuwah came to me. Sorry.
Yep.
The word of Yahuwah came to me again, saying, what mean ye that ye use this proverb concerning the land of Yasharah, saying, the fathers have eaten sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge.
They set on what?
On edge.
Come on.
As I live, said Yahuwah.
As he what?
As I live.
So he's swearing on his name. Can't swear by none greater, so he swore on himself.
Ye shall not have occasion any more to use this proverb in Yasharah.
Yep.
Behold, all souls are mine.
All souls are what?
Are mine.
Are what?
Are mine.
What else?
As the soul of the Father, so also the soul of the Son is mine. So the soul that sinneth, it shall die.
So all souls are his. How do all souls belong to him in the first place? Not only that, because he paid for it.
Sit down.
He said, I'm your father that bought thee. You remember he talking to Yasharah, I paid for it. Well, how did he pay for it? What did he do to pay for it? He had to do something in order to purchase it. Did he not? I'll deal with that in a moment. I had something already ready for that. Let me see what I had for that, man.
All right, sit down before you fall.
He paid for it. He ransomed it. He bought it. It's his. Ain't even no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Didn't you already tell her that that was affirmative? If you just said cancel that. Yeah, he faking.
Don't nobody believe me.
Go to Deuteronomy chapter 6, man, about verse 17.
6 and what?
About 17. Henry J. Wellington.
Sit down.
Nobody don't want to hear all that.
Sit down. Sit down before you fall out of the chair.
Yeah, come on, go on and get him in, because he just showing up. Look at he's showing up. Because he feel like he can get away with it.
Mark, go down.
Oh, no, that junk just came late. That junk just came to my phone late. I had already seen where you told her yes, but the message itself came to my phone late.
Mark, go with Daddy. Mark, go with Daddy.
See, when y'all help him out and walk him on over here so we can keep on going. So he ain't got to get him, come get him. Walk him on over here.
Say,
Ain't nothing wrong with you.
y'all ain't trying. Y'all be so fake.
Y'all encourage that junk. Deuteronomy 6 and 15.
It says, "For Yahuwah thy Elohim is a jealous Elohim among you, lest the anger of Yahuwah thy Elohim be kindled against thee, and destroy thee from off the face of the earth. Ye shall not tempt Yahuwah your Elohim as ye tempted him in Massah. Ye shall diligently keep the commandment of Yahuwah your Elohim and his testimonies and his statutes which he hath commanded thee. And thou shalt do that which is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah, that it may be well with thee, that thou mayest go and possess the good land which Yahuwah sware unto thy fathers, to cast out all thine enemies from before thee, as Yahuwah hath spoken. And when thy son asketh thee in the time comes, saying, What mean the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Yahuwah Elohim hath commanded you, then thou shalt say unto thy son, We were Pharaoh's bondmen in
You were
Egypt.
who? You were whose
Pharaoh's
bondman?
bondsmen in Egypt."
Pause. Now go to Exodus 12 and 27. Then we come right back. So he had to purchase you. Who's the only person that can redeem you according to the law? Who knows the answer to this question? No. The high priest cannot redeem you. According to the law, only one person can redeem you. Has to be someone near of kin to you. You know what I'm saying? This stuff that you have to know this. That's in Leviticus, the 25th chapter. Near kinsman redeemer. Does anybody know, according to this text, who was a kinsman redeemer who redeemed somebody? Literally? Abraham didn't redeem a near kinsman. Ruth got redeemed by a near kinsman. Boaz is the one who redeemed her. You should also know, according to the law from previous times of going through it, that Deuteronomy 25 about raising up a child to your dead husband, to your dead brother's wife, is a kinsman redeemer. Nobody but, according to our law, nobody but someone of near kin can redeem you. If they are not of near kin, they cannot redeem you. So notice how he said in Deuteronomy 32 that it is the Father that bought thee or redeemed you. So your near kinsman redeemed you. He's the only one who could do this. If you also pay attention to what you were being redeemed from, you were being redeemed from affliction. If you remember what we looked at when we were looking at being quickened, it's consistently and constantly talked about being afflicted. I was in my affliction and you redeemed me. When you look at the prisoners, it talked about the prisoners, they were being afflicted and he set them free. So there's a reason why we sitting back looking at all these things to put it all together. Continue to Exodus chapter 12 and verse 27, sir.
Hush, hush. Hush.
Ain't nothing wrong with you, man. Then get a cookie, now you quiet.
It says that ye, 12 and 27?
Yep.
It said that ye shall say, It is the sacrifice of Yahuwah's Passover, who passed over the house of the children of Yasharal.
It's the sacrifice of whose Passover?
The sacrifice of Yahuwah, Passover.
Uh-huh.
It is the sacrifice of Yahuwah's Passover. He passed over the houses of the children of Yasharah in Mizraim.
Yeah.
When he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed their head and worshipped. And the children of Yasharah went away and did as Yahuwah had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they.
Yeah, go ahead.
We saying it came to pass that at midnight Yahuwah smote all the firstborn of the land of Mizraim, the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on the throne, and unto the firstborn of the captives that was in the dungeon.
Firstborn of who?
The captive that was in the dungeon.
That was in the where?
In the dungeon.
Why is that important? Say the firstborn that sit on the throne and the firstborn of the captain that was in the dungeon. If he in the dungeon, where he at? He in prison. Who remembers what prisoner means? The characters for prisoner. Does anybody remember that? It would be the prisoners are the one who are supported by the head. Because it's a sir. That's what a prisoner is. We know who was the prisoner that was supported by the head. That would be good old Joseph. So if it say the firstborn of him that sit on the throne was slain, then we would have to sit back and have to consider something. Did a Mashiach sit upon the throne? And if so, when and where? Nobody knows if he sat on the throne and when and where?
Oh, he sat on the throne. He rose.
No, that's after the fact. He said firstborn. He said on Passover, the firstborn that sit on the throne would be slain, along with the firstborn that was captive in the dungeon. So that's not the correct answer. Let's look at the correct answer. Let's go to Colossians 1 and 14 for the correct answer. And after Colossians 1 and 14, we will proceed and look at I'm trying to sit back and think of what I want. Well, I wouldn't even mention it. John chapter 1 told you what? He came into the world was created by him, and he came into his own, and his own received him not. I mean, he abdicated his throne before he even came in the flesh. To slay, remember, the Lamb was slain from the foundation of the world. So the firstborn that sat on the throne had already been slain. You have to sit back and look at this, and the firstborn that was in the dungeon. We're going to read this here. He was the firstborn in the dungeon. He was able to raise to set you free because they had to be your support. The Father was his support in the grave. All this is happening for affliction purposes to be made alive. Do you not realize that Yasharah was made alive after that the firstborn in Egypt was slain? And this is how he purchased you from the transgressions that were under that covenant because of the transgressions of the Egyptians. Continue on, sir. 1 and 14.
It says, in whom we have redemption through his blood and even forgiveness of sins, who is the image of the invisible Elohim, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created, that are in Shamahim and that are on earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities.
So if the thrones were made by him, wouldn't he have been on the throne? Then it said it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren. So that means he had to be slain off his throne. Does not the book say the Lamb was slain from the foundation of the world? That means the firstborn was slain upon the throne. This is for the purpose of purchasing you. Because that's what it said right there. That's what you were bought with. You were bought with their blood. Go ahead.
It says, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. And he is the head of the body, the assembly, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have preeminence.
If he the firstborn from the dead, wouldn't he be the firstborn that was captive in the dungeon? Continuing back to Isaiah the 9th chapter. And verse 4, I believe.
It says, for thou hast broken the yoke of his burden and the staff of his
What is the
shoulder.
burden? Didn't Mashiach tell you to come on, to take his yoke upon you? So what is this burden that you're yoked by? Correct. Continue on.
It says, and the staff of his shoulders, the rod of his oppressor, as in the day of the...
So how does he mean when he say he established on his shoulder the rod of your oppressor? What is he referring to? Well, let's look and see that. Let's go to Luke the 14th chapter and the 26th verse. 26.
Luke
26, 14, 26.
It says, and if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brother and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
Go ahead.
And whosoever does not bear his state.
Don't bear his what?
His state.
Bear his what?
His state.
What else?
And come after me.
And do what?
He cannot be my
Hold on, he
disciple.
said he bear that stake and do what?
Come after me.
Come after who?
Me.
So that means you got to follow after him. See, this is the biggest mistake this is the part of the faith that people don't have. Number one, they're not going to be willing to sacrifice themselves. And number two, they're not going to follow after this man. Who was the man who didn't want to follow after him? He made a proposition to a man. The man turned it down. Rich man didn't want to follow. And it ain't just with the riches. He didn't want to give his life up. That's why he said in the previous verse before that, you have to hate your own life also. Okay, we many know the family members, can't nobody come first. But let's focus on the last thing he said, yea, even your own life also. And that's what he said. So that means your own, this is what the Galatians are referring to, that those are Mashiachs have crucified their affections and lusts. Their desires and the things that they seek to do that would cause them not to follow after him, they have mortified that along with him. See, that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I just seen a nigga say that there's a Ramadan in the book. That Adam died during the time of Ramadan, so they keeping that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, where do you find that at? But you find that at when people have their own desires and lusts, which causes them not to follow after the son of Elohim if you've been instructed. That is just a small thing that's in the context of somebody who claims in what we believe. But some people follow after stardom. Some people follow after riches. Some people follow after a numerous amount of things. People, you know what I'm saying? Children, whatever the case may be. Like, okay, I put that article about it, and that's real talk though. How people tell their children that their children come before their husband. Most asinine thing that you could ever come up with, because you've been told that your kids come first, but it sets the precedent of disobedient behavior in the household and a lack of respect for authority. You know what I'm saying? Because you're telling the children that they trump all the adults in the house. And you think that make you a good parent because you do that. You know what I'm saying? But really you set your children up to be self-entitled, disobedient, disrespectful, slothful individuals, because they'll always feel like I come first because my mama said so, because my daddy said so. You know what I'm saying? That's not the reality of the case. You know what I'm saying? Not one time did you whoever said y'all came before him. He ain't never opened his mouth and said that, did he? He said we his sons and daughters, did he not? He ain't never said, oh, y'all come before me. Shoot, and if we say that Jerusalem is the mother of all living, he ain't even tell you came before her, because he said if you don't do right by her, I must kick you up out of here. You know what I'm saying? He ain't never let that run where you could feel like you could disrespect your parents to a certain extent. Even the law tell you got to honor father and mother. Do you know what I'm saying? You got no room talking about you come first. Because you looking at the law, they say if your kids were disobedient and didn't want to listen, what the book tell you to do to them? No, he told you go ahead, bring him out in front of the whole congregation, say this nigga don't listen and he a drunkard, and hit that nigga upside the head with a rock. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what he told you to do with me. Clearly, if he was a drunkard, this is a grown man.
There wasn't no laws like that back then.
Do you know what I'm saying?
You was drinking, winding it up at 13.
Yeah, no, there wasn't no winding up. That nigga was grown. That was big grown rusted nigga. And he want to do nothing what he was told. Because you got to remember what our culture was. They didn't put you out when you hit a certain age. They married you off to somebody, and that's when you left. You left to go create your own family. You didn't leave till it was time for you to go do that. Look how old Isaac was staying with Abraham before Abraham died. Isaac was almost 60 years old. Nigga climb you hard if you're 60 years old and you still live with your people. Hard. You know what I'm saying? That man was still there till they died. Ain't that what our law said? That's where he was at. He ain't go nowhere. Guess what Jacob stayed at till Isaac died? With them. Till it was time. You know, Isaac didn't leave his house till it was time for him to go do what? Go get Rebekah. That's when he left. You know what I'm saying? Jacob didn't leave till it was time to go get Rachel. Then he left. That's just a custom. You know what I'm saying? Things are a little different now. We already had a conversation. You can't send no child out at 18, 19 years old talking about go face the world. You know what I'm saying? And niggas not ready to face the world. Not ready for that at all. So what ends up happening? Niggas make horrible decisions. You know what I'm saying? You end up having children young, or like we discussed last week, you end up submitting to a man that's not your husband because that's what you think you're supposed to do. You end up taking care of a woman that's not your wife because that's what you think you're supposed to do. You end up running around with people in circles that you ain't got no business running in. You end up going places that you ain't got no business going because you think you grown. You know what I'm saying? Just because you pay bills don't mean you grown. It's a lot of immature people pay bills. You're not grown because you have children. It's a lot of immature people have children. You know what I'm saying? But that's how we feel. Oh, I'm grown. I pay my own bills. No, you're just responsible. You're supposed to pay your own bills if you live on your own, nigga. But in reality, you should have stayed at your people's house. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all know people who were teenagers who left their people's house because they didn't want to obey their people's rules? I knew plenty of niggas like that. Niggas sleeping from pillar to post, sleeping outside, sleeping in abandoned apartments, sleeping wherever they can sleep at, sleeping in dope houses because they didn't want to listen to their people. Nigga, you 16 years old, man, they pay your rent, feed you, and clothes. You better sit your behind down somewhere. Go ahead letting the people take care of you, man. Ain't no shame in that. You're a child. How does somebody feel like that on your 17th birthday and your 18th birthday, you went from being a child to an adult? How did you just magically have this shift in maturity in a 24-hour period? Do you know what I'm saying? You were immature on the 9th, you grown on the 10th. How's that possible? You know what I'm saying? And then people ridicule you if you 18, 19 years old and you're not doing stuff that you should be doing when you 27, 28 years old. You're a child. Why do you think so many niggas go to college and get buck loose? Because they children. They don't know what to do. You're giving them freedom and no oversight that they don't have no business having. You know what I'm saying? You still need somebody to tell you what to do. You still need somebody to watch over you and direct you and be responsible for you. You don't even know how to be responsible for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Niggas go to college, and you know what happens most of them? A lot of niggas drop out because they're not able to handle that level of responsibility so quickly. You dropping a lot in my plate at one time. I'm only 18. Do you know what I'm saying? What I'm supposed to do with this here? And I want to have fun at the same time. Niggas is partying and getting high. You notice how many girls go to school and turn to be whores? They wasn't even whores when they left their mama house. Because they people wouldn't let them do nothing. Now I'm free and I can do whatever. They ain't ready for the world. Niggas running all manner of game on them. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they weren't even ready for this. Nobody prepared them for it. You know what I'm saying? Or even the word part, the lame nigga that go to college and now they want to be drug dealers. You wasn't selling drugs when you was in high school, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You wasn't thinking about none of that when you was legit. Now you want to be a drug kingpin. Now you locked up and now you grabbing your ankles in somebody's jail cell. You know what I'm saying? Because you wasn't ready for that. I'm not being funny. I'm dead serious because this stuff happens. Niggas get incarcerated and they end up getting abused either sexually or physically because now you've placed yourself in a position that you weren't even built for. You weren't built for this. You weren't made for this, but you went somewhere where you ain't never been before and you thought it was cool. You thought this was the thing to do because nobody prepared you for the reality of life. You know what I'm saying? Or you have a nigga go to college, didn't know what he wanted to do with his life, drop out, nigga working at Burger King for the rest of his life. Or worse, trying to find another mama. You know what I'm saying? Another woman to take care of him, clothe him and wash his drawers, cook his meals. You know what I'm saying? I'm dead serious. You know, time period, boy, young men were taught how to wash their own clothes, cook their own food, and do all of that. That you didn't have to wait for a woman to do that for you. You know what I'm saying? Now nigga look for their woman to do everything. Pay their bills, buy their clothes. That's shameful. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the difference of the reality of the culture that we live in. Continue on, sir. Yeah, continue on.
Yeah, 28. It say, for which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and count up the cost?
Now see, I mentioned this last night, right? How many of you actually sat down and counted the cost? That you were willing to do what was ever necessary to receive the Ruach HaKodesh. I ain't playing about that. Like, dead serious, I ain't joking about that. A nigga I went to school with, his son literally got murdered. 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? His chance of salvation is done. You know what I'm saying? Nigga hit the grave, it's done. So if you come to Elohim, see, because the reason why I say that, because Mashiach said he would be a ransom. So that means he sat down and counted the cost, whether he had enough to pay what was required. I mentioned it last night. We'll read it again. Matthew 20 and 20. Well, we didn't read it. We don't look at it now. Do you have the... Because he said he bought you. So if he bought you, that means he was willing to do what was necessary to redeem you back to him. So are you willing to do what is necessary? Because everybody ain't willing. Everybody ain't willing. Because it comes with a cost. You got to count the cost. So you have to look on each side and say, what am I willing to lose and what am I willing to do? I don't think everybody do that. I think niggas just get excited by information or finding out they're Israelite, and then they don't sit back and look at that man. Say he got rid of the oppressor by carrying that staff on his shoulder, or that rod on his shoulder. So that means he was ready to carry something. I mean, he was willing to do something, and he knew full well what he was finna do before he did it, and he felt like the reward was sufficient enough for me to do so, because he esteemed the riches of Mashiach greater than the riches of Misraim. That's how you had to look at it. Because we had a conversation before, it looked like the people in the world having a good old time, and they can do everything, but they going to hell afterwards, though.
Hey, I got a question. Who is Misraim?
Egypt.
That's Egypt. Oh, that's
That's Ham's name of Ham's son. That's what the land was. In our culture, we would have called it Misraim. We wouldn't have called it Kemet.
Okay.
The people in the land probably who were Egyptians, they probably would have called it Kemet, but we didn't.
I had a situation happen when I was up north.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the oppressor, which is the white person,
Mm.
you know, but I was cool with him for about a week. You know, we did some business together, and he thought it was cool. He called me nigga. I'm like, after a few days, he's like, "What's up, nigga?" I said, "Hey, no problem." You know what I'm saying? But then I realized that he heard me and another guy call each other nigga.
Yeah.
My thing is, if they hear us call it, that's why I'm working on. I ain't stopped yet, because I just called my brother nigga like last night. You know what I'm saying? But I told myself, I said I gotta stop saying that, bro, because at the end of the day, I work with everybody. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I just don't work with our kind, because they ain't no way you gonna move up and just stick with us. My thing is, I'm trying to work on that. Stop saying that. I gotta get my family to stop saying that. When we in the family said it, everybody said it. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is like, you know, I got other people that I'm trying to bring, like that I'm trying, and I had to pretty much cut bro off. You know what I'm saying? It was just like he just thought he felt offended that he couldn't call me because his friend is black and he called me. I was like, bro, you know what? I ain't even gonna say it no more, because I don't wanna mess up business with nobody. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to work on that. But
That goes to that conversation we had with that Jewish lady, though.
that's big though, bro. That's real big, because I'm telling you, bro. Like, and they think it's cool. You know
Well, I'm gonna tell you that they don't think it's cool. They just want to be able to use it and slide it in without repercussions.
I can't let them slide mine.
That's all that is.
I can't let them.
That's all that is. That's all that is.
It was almost like, you know,
That's all that is.
and I ain't going.
It was like they were saying white people just don't like it to be something that
They can't do. That's all.
And they can do everything they want to do, but
Why we can't call you nigga?
They know they can't get away with
You
that.
called me nigga for 150 years, crack us over with.
But that don't got nothing to do with us.
So
They
don't.
can't say it.
So, okay.
Why you finna stop doing what you doing because they can't do it?
Okay, put it like this.
That don't make sense.
I got a friend. I got.
I understand. Keep it brief
That
though.
I'm cool with. I'm brief. She got a white baby daddy, right? He done got cool with everybody. So you know he feel like he can say it. You know he do, bro. He got a black baby mama.
And?
You know what I'm saying? Well, he feel like he can say it.
And he can feel like he could get slapped.
And okay. Then you got these charges and you got these batteries.
I mean, well, that's the risk he took when he opened his mouth and did that.
So you feel like the solution is for you to not say it to make them feel more comfortable?
Cause he's still gonna say it.
I don't want to say it. I'm not going to say it around. And for example, right now it's cool. I ain't gonna trip. But my thing is, I have to work on it. I have to work.
I understand. I ain't mad at you at all. That's your choice. You know what I'm saying?
But how you gonna deal with that if you, for example, I hear you saying, but
I mean, I explained it to a Jewish lady. It ain't even really hard to explain. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just a term that we took and co-opted, and to remove the psychological, mental, and emotional sting from it, we therefore use it amongst ourselves as a term of endearment. It also can be used as a verb, a noun, an adjective. You know what I'm saying? Anything that you want to come up with, considering on the construct of the sentence in which it's being used. But you cannot use it because you created for the purpose of degrading another people and belittling another people. And now you feel like because it's quote unquote common culture or pop culture to use such word, that you can slide it in as a means to really be covertly racist, disrespectful, and prejudiced on the low, thinking you down, and you think that I'm mentally incapable of seeing that. So no, you cannot use that in my presence. If you do use it in my presence and I don't say nothing, it may be because I don't feel like arguing and you caught me on a good day. But if I do say something, I will be able to properly postulate unto you why you should not use it, and that if you continue to do so, there could be the threat of irreparable harm to your physical body. So it would be wise for you to cease and desist from that at this present time. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't respect that, then your whole perspective is whack, and you need to go find somebody else to play with. Because if you want to play that game, then I can play it with you. Because you will be my cracker repeatedly, honky, or whatever, pink foot, whatever I want to call you in the course of that conversation if you want to continue to persist. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with that. Dog, pig, whatever I want to call you.
Devil's dog.
You know what I'm saying? Definitely take it to your white devil. Do you not realize they call white devil by every nationality of people upon the face of the earth?
Yeah.
And I'm not even being funny about that. I don't even think black people started the term.
White devil, white devil.
We can go to Indian people, they call them white devil. We can go to Arabs, they call them the devil. We can go to Japanese people, they call them the devil. African people call them the devil. Black people call them the devil. Why do people call them the devil? Simply because of their behavior, not because of their skin pigmentation. See, you just called me a nigga to be disrespectful. See, if I call you a devil, I got facts. I'm going to show you how you're a devil.
Nigga really don't even mean that.
I show you. See, you say, nigger. Okay, by definition, you called me ignorant. By definition, you said I'm ignorant. Well, I'm far from ignorant. You know what I'm saying? So I could manifest my level of intellect upon you at this present time. But my God told me don't answer a fool in his folly lest I be like him. So I will depart from this conversation with you at this present time. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I'm not going to sit here and argue with this stupid idiot. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all he wants. Then on top of that, I ain't a nigga, so that don't even bother me. You know what I'm saying? So that don't even bother me. So you can nigga it all you want to. You know what I'm saying? But if you think it's cool for you to call me, what's up, my nigga? What's up, my devil? That's what I'm gonna call you.
My devil. That's what I'm
It ain't got to sound. It ain't supposed to sound good.
What's up, little big boy?
That's a new word, people.
That's what nigga call them.
That's what they call
Nigga, that's what niggas out the road say. Say I don't mess with dirty foots, meaning they don't talk to black men.
But see, it's really almost like this, and I'm speaking for me. I'm speaking from my experience. I tried to, after I tried to do that, like I tried to say, I was like, hey, bro, don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
In the wrong.
And then it's like the brother that I said it to, he was like, nah, he cool. You know what I'm saying? Like he's straight. You know what I'm saying?
Well, then at that particular, pause. At that particular time, then I have to let him know, the black dude know, you coon nigga you. No, he ain't straight.
I ain't even know what to say, bro. I just kind of.
I know what to say.
I would have said something else, but I just was like.
It's never cool. Let me tell you something, then we got to move on. When I was young, we had homeboy Cracker Ross. That's what we called him. he answered to it. You know what I'm talking about? But Cracker Ross. Cracker Ross would be like, what's up, my nigga? It didn't bother. I know this Cracker. You know what I'm saying? But I used to tell him, but don't you go cross town with that, because he lived on Atlantic Beach. Because you going to say it to the wrong black man, and he going to slap the taste out your mouth. Or then you with that racist stuff. No. I'm preparing him from a world outside of Plaza Drive and Mayport Road. You know what I'm saying? Because you're cool with this, and he's cool with this, but this nigga's cross town ain't cool with this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is something like that junk never bothered me, period, unless I felt like you were saying it as a means to belittle me. So I didn't care. But he ain't never walk up to me like, what's up, my nigga? You know what I'm saying? But I heard him say it, I'm like, oh, I'm finna slap this cracker. You know what I'm saying? I've been around a lot. It'd be funny. I'd be having people in the car and the songs come on, they want to say nigga and they skip it. I know when ain't no black people around, they say nigga this, nigga that. I know when story OJ come on, field, nigga house, nigga. I know they say all of that. I've heard white people call each other niggas, so they think it's cool. But see, at that token, I'm not finna wrestle my brain to try to figure out and work with people who are clearly of low intellect. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna stress. Let me tell you something, right?
No, these are smart people.
No, clearly they were not. So let's just leave that. But clearly they were not. No, clearly they were not. If he was smart, then he would have been wise enough to not even open his mouth and speak those words. So clearly he is not intelligent. But I mean, that's no excuse. I don't care about what your status in life is. I don't care about how much money you attain to. I don't care what much level of education you have. Clearly you're not an intelligent person. Do you know what I'm saying? Clearly you're not. Matthew 20 and 20. Let's roll.
20. It said then came to him The mother of Zebedee's children with her sons worshiping him and desiring.
So they did what? They did what?
They worship.
Why do these niggas always say there ain't nobody worship this man? Remember, always remember this key thing when people say don't know about worship means to bow down, to give reverence and honor to. He told you not to bow down to, because they bowed down to worship David too. They bowed down to worship a lot of kings. So you have to understand that concept when people throw that out there. Worship means to give honor to. Continue.
And said, he said unto her, what wilt thou? She said unto him, grant that these two sons, that my two sons may sit, one on thy right hand and the other on thy left in thy kingdom. But Yahushua answered and said, ye know not what ye ask. Are ye able to drink of the cup?
Are you able to what?
To drink of the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with.
What is the baptism that he was baptized with? Fire, affliction. Remember when we were talking about being quickened, you seen affliction over and over and over again. Come on back to Isaiah chapter 9, because I got to move and I have to do it expeditiously.
We have verse 5.
In 5.
For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and the garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire.
It shall be with what?
With burning and fuel of fire. For unto us a child is born.
So this child is only going to be born from what? It said from fire, didn't it? Now pause and give me 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 4. So you didn't even most supposed to just overlook that part. He said it'd be with garments rolled in blood, right? A confusion of noise. What is the confusion of noise that would have been occurring? The confusion of noise would have been one group of people saying kill him and one group of people saying what has he done? Because there was a division amongst the people because of him, and we have that same division amongst the people now. First Peter 1 and 4.
It says, to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled, and that fadeth not away, reserved in Shamahim for you.
We'll make it verse 3. I think verse 3 got what I want.
It said, blessed be you who...
Oh, no, keep going, man. You good. My mistake. Keep going.
It said, we have verse 5. 1 Peter 1 and 5. It said, who are kept by the power of Elohim through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time, wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations. That the trial of your faith, being much more precious than gold.
Much more precious than what?
Than gold.
Than what?
Than gold.
Go ahead.
That perish, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and esteem at the appearing of Yahushua.
Now let's go back to Isaiah 9 and 5 then.
Yeah, verse 6.
Verse 6 then.
Yeah, verse 6.
Nah, read 5 again.
Okay, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire.
So he said this will be with burning and fuel of fire. And what is this?
For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder.
See, this is how you're able to break that rod of that oppressor by carrying. See, so if you want that rule and authority, that's why he say you got to take up your stake and follow him. If you want that rule of authority on your shoulder, go ahead.
It says, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty Elohim, the Everlasting Father, and the Prince.
The Everlasting what?
The Everlasting Father.
Didn't that say that he's the Father that bought you? So now we have to look at something else. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 13. Because you can't get no more near than kin than your own father buying you. The reason why that's relevant, did we not already read in Colossians that all things were created by him and for him, and there was nothing created that he didn't make? So this is what I be meaning when I can consistently tell you, you do not belong, your life does not belong to you. At the end of the day, nobody in Shamahim gives two flying Londons what you niggas want to do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, period. Nobody cares what you want to do, as forth as it pertains to anybody in Shamahim. The Father don't care what you want to do. The Son don't care what you want to do. The Malakim don't care what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I own you and I paid for you. Now, you can do what you want to do, but there will be a day of restitution of which all men must give account for the deeds that they've done in his body, whether they be good or whether they be evil. And he will extract his payment out your black hide. You know what I'm saying? So the choice is yours. Because we have to acknowledge, this is why this man was so used to be so incensed and enraged with our behavior, because I took the time, I redeemed you myself. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else came to do it. I came and did it. See, it'd be different if it was a stranger, you know what I'm saying, who came and redeemed you. Your father himself came and purchased you back. So you can see why he would be a little perturbed at disobedient and unbelieving behavior. Do you know what I'm saying? More specifically, unbelieving behavior. How many kinsmen you know come and redeem their people from death? I don't know many. Continue on, sir. 1 Corinthians 6 and 13. And from that, Psalms 49.
It said, meats for the belly and the belly for meats, but Elohim shall destroy both it and them. Now the body is not for fornication, but for Yahuwah, and Yahuwah for the body. And Elohim have both raised up Yahuwah, and will also raise us up by his own power. Know ye not that your bodies are members of the Mashiach? Shall I then take members of the Mashiach and make them members of a harlot? Elohim forbid.
Say what?
Elohim forbid.
What else?
What? Know ye not that ye which is joined to a harlot is one body? For two says he shall be one flesh.
What else?
But he that is joined unto Yahuwah is one ruach.
Yep.
Flee fornication. Every sin that a man does is without the body, but he that committed fornication sinned against his own body.
Yep.
What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Ruach HaKadosh, which is in you, which ye have of Elohim, and ye are not of your own?
You are not what?
Your own?
That means you belong to somebody else. So I think we tend to forget that notion.
That's 6 and 19.
I think we forget that you are not your own. See, you gotta understand something. Before Hamashiach purchased you, you belonged to no one, because he had disinherited you. When he purchased you with his own blood, you belong to him. That's why he said there are many purposes in a man's heart, but the counsel of Yahuwah stand. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, go ahead.
It says, for ye are bought with a price, therefore esteem Elohim in your body and in your Ruach, which are Elohim.
We did last night, he said this here, man, clear as day. That you were not redeemed with corruptible things like silver and gold from the vain behavior of your fathers, but by the precious blood of a lamb. Psalms 49 and 9.
It says that he should live forever.
Make it verse 7 then.
It says none of them can by any means redeem his brother.
We'll back him up to 5 then.
It said, wherefore, we're at verse 5, wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my hills shall compass me about? They that trust in their wealth and boast in themselves in the multitude of their riches. None of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to Elohim a ransom for him.
Can't nobody get no ransom. Who the only one can get that ransom? Go ahead.
For the redemption of their soul is precious.
The redemption of their soul is what?
Precious.
What we looked at that. Hold on. We looked at precious the other day when it said that the death of his Kadeshim was precious in his eyesight. He said the redemption of their soul is very precious. And that word is yakar, and it's to be prized, is valuable, something of high value. You know what I'm saying? So it was very valuable in the eyesight of Elohim to redeem his people. You know what I'm saying? So you have to really understand that and looking at it. It was very valuable for him to sacrifice his son for your sake. Nobody else was going to do it. Who else was going to do it? That's why he said you got to sit down and count the cost, whether you got enough to pay. And are you willing to be immersed with the immersion that he is immersed with and drink from the cup that he drank from? See, like, You ritually drink that cup on Passover, but you're not considering what you actually doing. You know what I'm saying? You're not considering the act and what it represents, or what you saying, this is what I'm willing to do. Because when he drank that cup, he said, I'm willing to die today. Because the redemption of my brother's soul is precious. Because who else gonna do it? I'll go do it. You know what I'm saying? When he said, who we gonna send? He said, send me. I'll go do it. You know what I'm saying? So when you have someone who has volunteered to do something that he did not have to do, then he would be highly offended that you don't have that same passion and zeal for him as he had for you. You know what I'm saying? That's just all it boils down to. This ain't just no going through no motions. You know what I'm talking about? This is how y'all soul got grieved in the first place, meaning it's heavy. That's sadness. You know what I'm saying? This does not make me feel good. I'm not enthusiastic at the plight of my people with the continual state of unbelief and disobedience. This does not bring joy to my heart. See, we don't never consider that because we get comfortable and feel like you got it on cruise control. Until you in the grave. You know what I'm saying? Then cruise control is over with. It's over with for you. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people been dropping dead. You know what I'm talking about? And they drop dead every day. Then you know in the word, I just told the brother last night, man, no, it's over with for your mama. You know what I'm saying? Only thing you can focus on is you still above ground, so you still have the opportunity to deliver your soul. She can't deliver her soul anymore. Her book is closed. You know what I'm saying? Whatever part of righteousness or unrighteousness that she'll be deemed with has already been checked off, and she just waiting to go before the judge. That's it. You ain't waiting to go before the judge because you still alive. You know what I'm saying? That means you still have the opportunity, while today is still today, to hear his voice, that you might receive that gift of eternal life by way of Yahushua HaMashiach. Everybody in that grave ain't got that opportunity. He ain't going to the spirits in prison to preach to them because he done already did that. He ain't finna come do that again. Because you was above ground and had a chance to hear of me and you rejected me. You can't turn around and be like Judas and hear the words of eternal life and turn your back on it. Because at that point, just put the whole book down. Just go ahead, get your dumpster, garbage can, toss that in there, and just stop fronting and just do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no sense of showing up in here every week and this ain't what you want to do. Ain't no sense of talking about it, reading about it if you just go do what you want to do. Because it doesn't make any sense. You still need to be as hungry as this from the first day you heard it. How do you lose that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you lose that hunger and passion for this? He say, blessed are those who are hungry, they'll be filled. And blessed are those who are thirsty, for they'll be filled with righteousness. So he said he'll give you something to drink and bread to eat. How you say you comfortable and your stomach is satiated? Go ahead.
Psalm 49 in verse 9. It said that he should still live forever and not see corruption.
Not see what?
Corruption.
So that means this man redeemed you for the purpose of you not to see what?
Corruption.
And that's what he said in Deuteronomy, I'm your father that did what? I bought you. What did he buy you for? As we read last night, to make you an incorruptible seed so you could live forever. That's what he bought you for. That was the purpose. But continuing on, Genesis chapter 42. Pick me up about verse 20.
It says, but bring your youngest brother unto me, so shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. And they said one to another, we are very guilty concerning our brother.
They're very what?
We are very guilty.
We are very what?
Guilty.
Who talking right here, sir? Do you know who talking? Huh? His brothers are talking. What did and whose brothers? Because if nobody don't know, these are Joseph's brothers. So these are sons of Yasharal, correct? What are they guilty of? They sold their brother, did they not? Now we read something about that. I want to say it's Psalms 106. Let's look at Psalms 106 and verify that. They hate it, exactly. Go and get me 1 John 3 and 14 since you said it. Make it 3 and 10. What did they have intent in their heart to do to their brother? Kill him. Why did they want to kill him? What were they jealous of? That ain't what made it. That ain't the last. That they already were envious of that. What made him pop it off to make the move? The prophecy of the word that he spoke. You know what I'm saying? But it was the word that he spoke. And regardless of what the prophecy was, it was the word that he spoke. They hated him for the word. They didn't hate him for him. They were cool and content to deal with him when it was just daddy loved them more than the rest than them. Once he went to dropping that word on them, now they want to kill him. You see the difference in it? They didn't want to kill him till he started dropping that word on him. Now all of a sudden it's a problem. This nigga telling me he gonna be a ruler before he even rule. Go ahead, man.
1 John 3:14.
Make it 10.
It says, "In this the children of Elohim are manifest, and the children of the adversary who doeth not."
So we didn't read verse 8, but you know he that commits sin is of the what?
Of the devil.
And he that is born of Elohim sin not. So remember, if you born, he say his seed remain in him, which means he is separated seed. That means the grace of Elohim will remain in you. That acceptance of that sacrifice. Why would that acceptance of that sacrifice remain in you? Because you sacrificed yourself along with him. See, that's the part we don't want to do, because we don't want to give nothing up. You know what I'm saying? This ain't the first time that we've had that conversation, but that's what's going to have to be done. So that means in every situation and circumstance, your emotions have to be deaded to the word. That means just because an emotion rises up, just because a thought rises up, you're supposed to already nail that to the stake of Mashiach, and you don't move or dictate or react based off of that, because you're going to move and react dictated off of what the word says, because the word lives in you and you live in the word. This is how we going to move to get the Ruach. Because you got to ask yourself, how bad do you want that? You know what I'm saying? How bad do you want that? Then you got to ask yourself, what is it inside of you that is stopping you from getting that? Like, what do you have going on in your own heart? Because at the end of the day, just doing this without the desire and hunger to receive the Ruach is asinine. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense, because that means you are basically looking Yah in the face and say, I reject that free gift that you have to offer me. I do not esteem it of high value. I do not regard it, nor do I want it, but I want to continually show up with false platitudes and fake worship to make it seem like that I'm righteous in the eyesight before men. Because at the end of the day, receiving the Ruach is the only reason why you should be hearing the word, should be serving Elohim, so that you can become Elohim and be with him. Like we had a conversation, who actually wants to be with him? Who actually wants to see him? Who actually wants to be in his presence? Like, it's one thing to talk about a man, it's another thing to look him in the face. Do you know what I'm saying? Most people as a child came up and thinking, I wonder what God looked like. Before you knew anything in the text, anything what the book said, most small children, when they first get told by God, they wonder what he looked like. I wonder what it'd be like to see him. I wanted to be what it'd be like to talk to him. And this man is offering you a free opportunity for that. I told y'all this last night, and I'm going to tell you again while y'all sitting right here. Y'all do not know how good you really do got it, because you are young and you have the opportunity to hear the word of salvation before you live 30, 40, 50 years making idiotic mistakes and your heart got hardened. And all of your children, for the most part, don't know anything else. Ain't a child in this room celebrated Christmas, probably except for him. Oh, he ain't either. See, he blessed child too. You ain't even know it. He ain't did it. You know what I'm saying? Now think about that. Ain't a child in this room ever celebrated Christmas. Ain't a child in this room ever celebrated Easter. And we talking about small, simple stuff that ain't even that heavy. Ain't a child in this room ever tasted a piece of pork. They never had to feel like what it was like. Boy, I sure love to eat that ham when mama made it. Boy, I sure love them. They don't know nothing about any of that. They don't know nothing about any of that. They'll never know. They ain't none of them ever smoked no doobie. Never took no taste of alcohol. You know what I'm saying? Now some of them in here have told lies, but they little kids. That's what they gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Fart and tell lies. Fart and tell lies. But nevertheless though. But dead serious though. Like I'm being serious though. Like I'm dead serious though. And all serious, cause I'm not trying to be funny right now. I'm dead serious. Y'all don't really know how many of y'all over the age of 25? But you 26. 26 years old. And how old were you when you first? I'm just gonna go. How old you was when you first got introduced to the word, regardless of the level of understanding what it was. How old were you?
19.
How old were you? How old were you? How old were you? How old were you? Muffin, how old were you? I know how old you were, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Okay, well that would have been about
You don't know.
Hey, what you mean? The first time I ever said something to her when I first got out of prison, Muffin was 18. Do you know what I'm saying? She didn't receive it at that point. She came back around about 2 years later, so she was 20. 2011. I still got the photograph. Oh shoot, I got the photograph where she came around here before. The last picture she had with some pants on and some earrings. But you lied. Who? But you lied. How old you was, sir? I mean, I know the answer to that question too, but I'm going to ask you anyway. That would have been 2011. I wager that you're about, who? What you mean? Well, 2012. My apologies. The first time I seen you was that. Yeah, that's my bad. I mean, I just forgot that Leah was born in 2012. It was at the baby shop. You know what I'm saying? I think y'all about the same age, so you about to shoot 23. That's true. I don't know your exact age, sir.
I already told you. I'm asking the question. Did you ask them?
You know what I'm saying? Who was it? Well, how old were you, Deidre? She said. I didn't hear you.
I said 10.
10? That's young. No, I'm talking about knowing like what it actually is supposed to be.
She said 21.
I heard. What about you, Shayla? Lee? What'd you say, Lee? 19. All right, Glover. But then you don't know how old you was in 2013, 2012. Now look how you all young, that all of y'all said y'all was when you got hit with this. That means most of you were 2-3 years removed from your 18th birthday. You know what I'm saying? 2-3 years removed from your 18th birthday. And you got hit with some information that could literally transform and change your whole life before you even had a good chance to make a multitude of mistakes. Now, of course, we know that everybody in this room has made a multitude of mistakes in that time period. But you had enough information from the living Elohim to correct those mistakes before you perished in them. Because, you know, if you walk in sin for too long, boy, you know what I'm talking about? You get turned over to it. You know what I'm saying? And then you young, and then you produce offspring that will know. They'll never have to talk about Jesus this or Jesus that. You know what I'm saying? They will never know what it's like to walk in some black person's house and see a white man with blonde hair and blue eye hanging on the wall talking about this day God. You know what I'm saying? They'll never know nothing about a cross. You know what I'm talking about as far as that hanging in their house, wearing on a necklace. You don't even know how, do you not even realize that actually knowing your Elohim is one of the first steps of breaking white supremacy? You know what I'm saying? So that means you can raise your child to be directly opposed to white supremacy. Because they ain't gonna know nothing about it. Because Christianity is white supremacy. Whether people want to accept it, realize it, deal with it, that's what it is.
But that's how people use that to turn people away from the Bible, though. Because Christianity is white supremacy.
Yeah, it's white supremacy.
But they try to make it like Christianity is the Bible.
No, Christianity is white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Pagan, idolatrous, white supremacy. Anglo-Saxon supremacy is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So you have to realize how fortunate that is. You know what I'm talking about? You don't really know how really good you got it. Because guess what? Most of the people y'all went to high school with, most of the people you went to college with, you know what them niggas out here doing. You know them niggas is running a pathway straight to hell on quick as possible. I ain't just gasoline draw like they running there, begging for death, wanting death. You know what I'm saying? Well, when we was y'all age, man, I say, man, we was standing on corners, sitting in traps in hotels. I was 20, I'm supposed to be 29 years old. The guy had just got out of prison. See, the reason I mention that is, if most of my peers would have got hit at the age that y'all did, then there might have been a drastic difference in what we would have chose to do. You know what I'm saying? Because selling dope, we putting our life at, we throwing rocks at the chain gang, and a nigga might kill you for what he think you got. See, a lot of niggas get robbed and killed in the street for what a nigga think you got. Because a nigga think you got some weight, or a nigga think you got some money. Because you ain't even got to be flogging like you got money. You ain't got to be flogging like you got weight. But if niggas see certain things, they think you got more than what you got, a nigga will come and get you. You know what I'm saying? Because this niggas I came up with hustling, them niggas is gone for a multitude of different reasons. And if they ain't gone, I just see my homeboy share the picture of my homeboy. This nigga doing 15 years. You know what I'm saying? He been gone now probably about a good 6 or 7, I want to say. Could be shorter than that. But what I'm saying is when I was 19, nigga was stealing. You know what I'm saying? Straight from McDonald's and KFC. Nigga was stealing. When I was 21, I was on the block. And all of my friends were on the block for the most part. When I said about everybody I went to, pretty much everybody that I knew for the most part was selling narcotics. And if they weren't selling them, they were using them. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about hard drugs. Because marijuana is a narcotic. We were on something. You know what I'm saying? Niggas having children from women. Do you not realize that knowing the word can give you a lot better wisdom to be much more discriminatory in who you choose to marry? Do you know what I'm saying? Because you looking at who you going to choose to procreate with. Like I know dudes that are mad for the women who they got kids from and vice versa. Because they were young and they ain't know no better. So they made a bad decision. The word will help remove bad decision making if you allow it to rest in your brain and let it do what it's supposed to do. And that's why I say you don't really know how good you really do got it. Some of y'all might got peers who are dead, never had an opportunity to learn to live in Elohim. And that's why I say this here, man. If you strive to do what you need to do to receive the Ruach, do you not know if you die, you gonna still get it? You still alive? Don't you want that level of comfort every day to know today if I die, it don't matter because I ain't dead. It's not even a factor. It's not even a factor. It doesn't even bother you. It's not. You look forward to it. So how many people in this room look forward to death? Because I got a verse in the book that talk about that. That's why I mentioned that. Ain't too many people in here look forward to death, do it. I look forward to it. You know what I'm saying? Dead serious. I ain't being funny or nothing. Like when I say that, y'all don't be funny. I be dead serious. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're dead, you ain't got to worry about nothing. Especially considering I know what's going to happen to my people. I don't have a desire to see that. You know what I'm saying? I have no desire to see that. People getting killed in the street by the bundles. I don't got no desire to see that at all. Nevertheless, keep going, sir. I'm pressed for time. Where you at?
1 John 3.
3 and 10. Read it again.
It say, in this, the children of Elohim are manifest, and the children of the adversary. Whoso doeth not righteousness and is not of Elohim.
If you don't do what's right, you are not an Elohim. Point blank, period.
Neither he that loveth not his brother.
If you don't love your brother, you're not an Elohim either. Now, who is your brother? Yeah, just because we black don't make you my brother. You know what I'm saying? So I just told you a few weeks ago, right? Nigga, no, I do not consider that nigga my brother, and I'm dead serious about that. And I look him in the face and tell him that. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with that. Several niggas, be quite honest, come and be, I ain't none of your brother, cuz you keep that to yourself. Dead serious. I'm not being funny. I'm not joking or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I do not consider you if that's lot or stock. So do not disrespect my family name like that. You might consider yourself to be part of the family. I consider you to be an idiotic reprobate. That's just my personal opinion. Based off behavior. It's many more people I feel that way too. I done told niggas on shows, when they don't believe in you ain't my brother then. How could you say that? You want me to say it fast? You want me to say it slow? You want me to spell it out? Because I meant what I said. You ain't none of my brother, cuz we kinsmen after the flesh. I'll give you that. Go ahead.
For this is the message that you heard from the beginning, that we should love one another.
That's what you heard from the jump street.
Not as Cain.
Not as who?
Of Cain.
What made Cain kill his brother?
He was of the wicked one.
He was of the who?
The wicked one.
See, stupid niggas read that and think Satan had a baby with Eve. I only said it because what? You of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. If you commit sin, you're the devil. He committed sin. That's why he's of the wicked one.
Say that right there.
Huh? I know it do. That's how nigga don't read. Go ahead.
It say he slew his brother, and wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil, his brothers were righteous.
That's the only reason why he killed him.
Marvel not, my brother.
Don't marvel.
If the world hates you, we know that we have passed from death into life.
Yes, sir.
Because we love the brother.
You love your brethren.
He that loveth not his brother abideth in death.
You don't love your brother, you dead.
Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer.
Is a what?
Murderer.
Is a what?
A murderer.
Why?
And ye know that no murder hath eternal life abiding in him.
Hold on, but it didn't say without cause. This is another part it say without cause. Because see, you can have beef with your brother, but it has to be a reason for it. You know what I'm saying? See, you got niggas who got problem with niggas, and you ask them, well, what did he do to you? I just, you wicked bastard, you. You don't. I'm dead serious though. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never. I can say right. It's very few people. Ain't nobody in this world I've never hated. I'll be like as hell. You know what I'm saying? It's some niggas I ain't like though. You know what I'm saying? It was a reason why I ain't like them. It's some niggas I wanted to do something to physically. There was a reason why I wanted to do something to them physically though. You know what I'm saying? I just ain't see a nigga like, boy, I'm gonna shoot that nigga for what? I don't like that nigga's shoes. I'm dead serious though. I have seen niggas that didn't like a nigga based off a glance. I ain't like the way that nigga looked at me, cuz. Are you serious, my nigga? Do you know there's people who've been killed in this world off a glance? That junk used to happen all the time in the 90s. Nigga walk around, nigga be like, man, who that nigga think he looking at? Nigga get gunned down off a glare. That nigga shooting units at a nigga. I'm finna burn this nigga. Straight up and down. And really, I'll be honest with you, that hatred for somebody without cause is really hatred for an individual's self. They really hate themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because if a nigga got a problem with you and they don't even know you, or you ain't did nothing to them, they got a problem with themselves. They ain't got nothing to do with you. See, that comes with life experience and maturity when you realize a lot of times what people do ain't got nothing to do with you. It's really a reflection of what's in their own heart. You know what I'm saying? I hate myself, so therefore I hate you. You know, other races of people don't walk around with their face frowned up when they meet and greet their own people. You know what I'm saying? White people walk around smiling and like they say, hey, buddy, how you doing? Black people see another black man, he got to look hard and mean. That man ain't your enemy, cuz. That man ain't doing nothing to you. Niggas act like they can't even smile because it seems to be a form of weakness and then they feel like a nigga gonna try to do something to them. Just the stress that niggas live with on a day-to-day basis. Especially if you in the street. If you in the street, niggas see you laughing and smiling and living it up and having a good time, nigga think, oh, them niggas soft. They think it's a game out here. Ain't nothing funny. I'm gonna come get that nigga. Then they find out the niggas who were laughing and smiling stone cold killers though. You know what I'm saying? Stone cold killers. Leave you dead in the ground. See, black people don't do that. Most of these men in here know what I'm talking about. Nigga walk up, black man see another black man, they tense up. You got to get all upright and roll the shoulders back. You know what I'm talking about? And all that. Like, what you looking mean for, cuz? Hey, like this here, boy, I ain't do it to you. I ain't the white man. I ain't your job. I ain't the landlord. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't them people calling you, asking you for, you got to pay, you got this bill to pay. I'm not them people. I ain't do it to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for you, my nigga. I hope you here for me. And this is what he trying to impart to you as far as dealing with the word, that you supposed to love each other. You ain't supposed to be walking around here with beef in your heart to somebody you say your brother, say your sister, in a martial. You ain't supposed to be doing that. I mean, you a killer. What we was at for that? Oh, Genesis 42. That's where we were at. Because they said they were guilty. The reason why we looking at that, because they were even though they didn't kill their brother, they had that hatred in their heart for their brother without cause to the point they wanted to kill him. Who was the brother that said not to kill him? It was Reuben first, though.
I said Judas.
Yeah, Judah, but shoot, same name. You know what I'm talking about? But it was Reuben the first one said don't kill him.
Question. If you had a situation in the past where somebody had robbed you, right? And this person, all you pretty much know people that you mess with. But you forgave him, but you guys, but you're not gonna be cool with him because you already know like it ain't that type of vibe, but he cool with everybody you know. So my thing is like, should I just cut everybody off?
I mean, are the people aware that he did that?
Yeah, everybody know.
Then no, I ain't fooling with none of you niggas then.
But that's what I'm saying. But they supposed to be like, people that
Clearly not.
Yeah. You just said a bunch of niggas you hang with no
a nigga did some harm to you, possibly could have took your life, and they still kicking it with him like it's sweet. I don't fool with none of you niggas. Cause I can't trust none of you niggas. Cause now I'm gonna sit back and look at how many of you niggas even knew that he was finna do that and ain't say nothing.
I'm saying this happened in the past. But my thing is like, if I see him, I definitely.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's some people I don't fool. It's some people that done cross me that hey man, it's all love, but you need something to eat if you're hungry. I got you. I don't fool with you though. It's no different than you got a family member who do something. You might have got a crackhead uncle. I love my uncle. I don't fool with you though.
Cause I can't be fake with people. Like if I know that, you know what I'm saying, if that happened, I'm cool. But my thing is like, you cool,
Yeah, I mean, nigga gonna know I ain't gonna fool with him because I ain't gonna talk to him.
Even though you still college, like you don't fool with him.
I don't fool. Ain't nothing. Ain't the book tell you that. It's nothing against that. He didn't say just because you forgive a nigga, you got to slap five. No, you know, we good.
I forgive.
I don't fool with you though.
Nah, I feel like he asked that though.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. No, I understand completely.
But some people feel like when you forgive, it's supposed to go back to how it was.
No, I don't. He never said that.
Y'all supposed to hang smoke, you know.
But see, there's a difference if your brother offend you and then he asks you, because certain level of offenses is not an offense to the point where I don't fool with you no more. Do you know what I'm saying? Then might have just did something you didn't like, and you let them know, hey, I didn't particularly care for that. Oh, well, shoot, my bad, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? I apologize for that. It's another thing when a nigga does something like, no, boy, you crossed the line. You know, it's all gravy, but I don't fool with you, B. And stay away from me. You know what I'm saying? And I mean that in all sincerity. Stay away from me. You know what I'm saying? Forget that I exist upon the planet Earth. Straight up, I have no problem telling another man that. They can take it how they want to take it. That don't mean I haven't forgiven you. You were forgiven for you pulled the flaw move that you pulled. But that don't mean I got to fool with you. Then also there's a recourse of how those things are supposed to be done. Number one, if somebody has a personal problem with another individual, then you take that to that individual. That ain't nothing that needs to be mentioned to another person. You can iron that out on your own. If that can't be ironed out, then you get 2 or 3 witnesses, if possible, to the situation and let them bear witness to it. And if that person doesn't want to hear that, then you bring them before the whole congregation. And if they don't want to hear the whole congregation, then you can treat that man like a heathen man and a publican, which means you ain't got to fool with him. Now, if it's a matter of sin, like say somebody did something to you that was not of a personal nature, but was a sin, you supposed to drag that nigga in front of the whole congregation, put him on blast. I'm dead serious. If a nigga tried to rob you, man, that nigga, let's say that in the instance, somebody in here tried to rob you, then you supposed to pull that nigga in front of everybody, and that nigga supposed to be put on blast. And ain't no, oh, tell this person and work it out between them. Ain't none of that. That's sin. Bring that nigga in front of everybody and say, this wicked nigga tried to rob me. Scripturally, that's how that's supposed to go. Care nothing about this nigga feelings. Don't care nothing about none of that. Pull that wicked nigga out there and put the light on this thinking behind. Because the book say what reprove make light. So reprove that. They say light make manifest. So you supposed to put a nigga right on blast.
I'm saying this happened years ago when I was like younger.
I can understand that. I'm taking the context. Listen, I'm taking the context of your of what you're talking about, and we're applying it to the word. Of course, we're not talking about a sinner and bringing this nigga in here and say this nigga tried to rob me. We could care less what he do.
He was like, dude, you know, it ain't no point going down because if you didn't do it, you didn't do it when it happened. It's almost like
No. I mean, but see, that's how we supposed to handle things. Like if all possible in a matter, we're not supposed to bring that before the ungodly. We're supposed to handle it ourselves. Now, of course, if it's of a criminal nature of an offense, like y'all forbid if somebody in here tried to rape a woman or touch one of these kids, then you need to call the police and get that bastard locked up. You know what I'm saying? Because it better he get locked up than let a nigga get hold to him. If a nigga was in here putting his hands on one of these women, go ahead and I tell the women, go ahead, hit 911 and call Johnny, come pick that stinking nigga up, because that nigga need to go to jail for one of us catch hold to him, because then we all going to jail. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to stop a mud hole in this nigga, kicking right in his teeth. Because that's unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? And every woman of Elohim should be able to know that if any man of, I don't care who he is, came at her in any fashion where her physical harm was threatened, that she know that a nigga gonna mash on this nigga. You know what I'm saying? And if I gotta go to jail behind it, then so be it. But I'm a mash on this nigga. You know what I'm saying? Every daughter in this room have to be able to know that, grown and small. You know what I'm talking about? That a nigga will mash on you, and you better hope them crackers get you before I do. Really, you better hope y'all get you before we do. You know what I'm saying? That would be your best hope. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's wrong with our people now. Nigga don't even think to protect no woman. You know what I'm saying? Nigga cool with nigga doing women any kind of way. No, kick that nigga in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? It's unacceptable. That's what y'all would do. So it would be wise. Go ahead and call the law, get that nigga locked up. You know what I'm saying? And when that nigga, get that nigga, if a nigga in here put his hands on one of you, call the law, get that nigga locked up. I'm talking about, I can't call the law to get you locked up. I'm talking about if that nigga raised his hand and his knuckles whiffed by your chin, call the law and get that nigga locked up. Shoot. Bet you lied. If one of these niggas, if a nigga came in here and touched one of these children, you better call the law and get that nigga. That's where he deserved to be.
Well, you know, I'm gonna let whoever around me call law after I done did what I gotta do.
But see, that's the reason it is because ain't nobody in here participating in criminal activity.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about that woman though. If that nigga shoot nigga, if you sit there and you watch a nigga put his hands on a woman, you don't hit that nigga in the mouth, we gonna hit you in the mouth. That's how that's supposed to go. You just as guilty. If you gonna sit there, bro, he punching a dog, pop, nigga gonna hit you first, and then gonna hit him. Cause you supposed to separate that nigga from off that woman. That's how that's supposed to go. Ain't nowhere in the time in our culture when they sit back and watch a man beat on a woman except now.
Well, I see this. I mean, I feel like it's a lot of, and I'm not saying this about any woman here because I doubt any woman do that. But if a woman strikes a man for no reason, I watched a woman like. Really,
I mean, I know it happens.
I walked in on a girl like.
I know it happens.
Like somebody just struggling, and I said, "What?" And I grabbed her. I was like, "What are you doing? You ain't no grown man like that. You know, that's no boy. You know what I'm saying?"
I mean, we know those scenarios occur, but guess what though? 99.9% of the time, you ain't walking in on that part. I'm not finna be figuring out, did you hit him first? Nigga, you bam, get up off her.
I grabbed her and I walked. I said, "Look, you don't need to be doing that." I said, "I ain't got nothing to do."
But I will tell you this, and then we gonna move on. But if we niggas separate it and stop a mud hole in that nigga, and you go back to him, I hope he kill you. Genesis 42. I hope he kill you. If a nigga intervene and stop a man from hitting a woman, and that woman go back to that nigga, I will look that woman in the face and I hope that nigga kill you. I hope he kill. And if you dealing with a woman who like to hit you, stab you, hit you with, I hope she kill you. I will hope not. Genesis 42, man. What verse you in? Come on, verse 21, man. Yeah, that junk ain't that junk unacceptable. But the purpose of all that is not to go in that great detail. It's about protecting your women. That's your job as a man.
Any woman.
Any woman. It ain't got to be your wife. It ain't got to be your blood sister. It ain't got to be your daughter. As a man, that's what you ought to do. I'm dead serious. You ain't got to know that woman. You might have never had to see that woman a day in your life. You know what I'm talking about? Black woman, you supposed to defend that woman. You ain't supposed to sit back and look at, I don't know that hoe. Maybe she around here running a mile. Shoot, run that nigga jaw off his face. Cause you know why? Cause if somebody did it to your daughter, you would want somebody to intervene and save her. Or if it was your wife, or if it was your mama, you would want somebody to not sit there and world star and videotape a nigga beating on her. Do you know what I'm saying? That junk ain't what's happening.
Or you could just be that person that just like, ain't my problem.
It is my problem. Cause that's my people. So it's my problem. What if Moses did that when he seen the Egyptians smiting the Israelites? Ain't my problem. He ain't hitting me. That's why people in the state right now, because we're not collective. Because you look at it as, it's not my problem.
So you telling me, if you was in let's just say you was in a restaurant and you saw a boyfriend hit his girlfriend.
I'm going to punch that nigga square in his face or hit him across the head with a chair. Because he'll think about it the next time he ever put his hands on another woman. I don't care nothing about all that. You know why? Because I got a mama. I got a sister. I got nieces. I got a cousin who was raised with me as a sister. Not only to mention all these women in this room.
You need to be a police officer.
I don't need to be nothing. You know what I'm talking about?
Because they're the only one that's not going to get an assault battery charge.
I don't care. See, that's the difference. Let me tell you something. See, there's a difference. I've been to prison and jail, so I don't care about going back, especially going back for something right. I don't care about going back. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to crack that nigga in mouthpiece. Because I wish a nigga would put his hands on Lil Muffin and I walk in there and see that. I'm going to try to kill this nigga. You know what I'm saying? I wish any nigga would probably put his hands on any woman in this room. I'm going to try to kill this nigga I get hold to him. So if I see a woman I don't know, I'm going to think about them no different than any woman in this room. She black, ain't her? So that's all it got to be. Shoot, I care less. That'd be number 6.
See, my thing is this. Let's just say you do that, and that same girl that you fought for, let's just say the police come. She might turn on you because she.
So what? It don't matter. I put my trust in He who judges righteously. I stood up on behalf of the oppressed and the needy and the poor, like my God told me to do. So I don't care. No, y'all better than us. Continue on, sir. 42 and 21.
They said one to another, we are verily guilty concerning our brother.
We are truly guilty. Hold on. What did the people? Can we read something where the people said they were guilty concerning their brother? Can any of y'all read anywhere where the people say they were guilty concerning Yahushua HaMashiach? I got a couple spots in my head. I want to see what y'all got for me though, cause I got to crank it up a bit. It's 4:05. I got a lot of information to hit. Come on, man. The people that they said pretty much acknowledged that they were guilty. Yeah, one is when they say let the blood be on our children's children, but then they say in the book of Acts they intend to bring this man's what on our head? His blood. Because they knew that they were guilty concerning their brother.
I was gonna say, what about after the earthquake and all that?
Well, that was this Roman centurion. That wasn't an Israelite. So he didn't consider Yahusha to be his brother. He just said, truly this man is the son of Elohim. Continue on, sir.
It says, we are guilty concerning our brother, that we saw anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear.
Hold on. He said they saw the what?
They saw anguish of his soul.
Now, did the people see the anguish of a Mashiach's soul and didn't hear? Because they seen him on the stake in the anguish of his soul. They ain't want to hear nothing. Come on.
It says, therefore is this distress come upon us. And Reuben answered them, saying,
So he said, now the same anguish that they put, see, the same anguish they put on the Mashiach, now he said, got to do what? It says it's on them now. Well, Revelation 1 and 5. Make it 3.
it say, Baruch is he that readeth and heareth the words of this prophecy, and
Yep.
keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. John to the 7 assemblies which are in Asia, grace be unto you and shalom from him which is, and which was, and which is to come,
Yep.
and from the 7 Ruachs which are before his throne,
Yep.
and from Yahushua Mashiach, who is the faithful witness,
Yep.
and the first begotten of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood,
He bought you. Come on.
and hath made us kings and priests unto Elohim, and the Father, and his Father, to him be esteem and dominion forever and ever. Amen.
Go ahead.
Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye
He coming with what?
clouds,
And every what?
I shall see him.
Even what?
And they also which pierced him, and all the kindred of the earth shall wail.
Now they in anguish because he was in anguish. So the same thing that they did to him, now they got to suffer distress. So, oh man, don't nobody like talk about that. First Peter chapter 4, man, verse 18. Give me verse 13. See, again, to be able to be made alive, you got to suffer. You have to be afflicted. Who in this book was afflicted? Everybody in this book who was deemed righteous was afflicted in some shape, form, or fashion. Every single last one of them. That's when you get quick, and that's when you get the kayah. That's when the hand get to separate you. 4 and 13.
It says, but rejoice inasmuch as ye are partakers of the Mashiach suffering.
You
that
rejoice
when-
because of what?
Because of, or as much as partakers of Christ's suffering, that when his esteem shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. If ye be reproached for the name of the Mashiach, happy are ye, for the Ruach of esteem and of Elohim resteth upon you.
So now when you get dishonored because of Mashiach, it says that that breath of esteem is now upon you. Go ahead.
On their part, he is evil spoken of, but on your part, he is esteemed.
See, again, that goes to the fact that if Mashiach is in you and you in Mashiach, they're not speaking evil of you, they speaking of evil of him. See, I mention this stuff, I keep telling y'all stuff repeated so you don't take stuff personal. See, niggas take stuff personal. Stuff ain't got nothing to do with you. Has nothing to do with you at all. Go ahead.
It says, but we have verse 15. It says, but let none of you suffer as a murderer or as a thief.
None of you suffer as what?
A murderer or
And what did we just read about Cain? What is Cain gonna suffer? I just seen a nigga say Cain, y'all forgave Cain. See, clearly because he put a mark on him. He didn't forgive him. He just said my punishment was too much to bear. A nigga gonna kill me. He said, well, to keep a nigga from killing you. Ain't that what it say? I'm gonna put this mark on you. He didn't say he forgave the nigga for the murder. You know what I'm saying? He didn't say that. Whether clearly he didn't forgive Cain, because what did it say about Cain? That he was of the wicked one. Who of the wicked one get forgiven? Not a now one. Because if you are the devil, you gonna perish with him. He say, hey, go into the. He say, those on my left hand, and into the fire. Prepare. You know how we know Cain wasn't forgiven? How does anybody know according to the law that Cain wasn't forgiven? I'm gonna see who know the law well enough to know Cain wasn't forgiven.
Well, didn't he get marked though?
He did get marked, but that was so nobody wouldn't kill him.
Right. So
But how do we know according to the law that Cain wasn't forgiven? Not even just because of the curse.
There was no atonement for sin.
There was no atonement for sin. That is correct, but it's a real distinct point that would call to see that who really been studying that type of matter. The way you would know why we know Cain wasn't forgiven. It's an obscure point, but it's a large one at the same time. Who Who is Cain's daddy? What is Adam called? According to the 3rd chapter of Luke in the 31st verse. The son of Elohim. Is there a genealogy of Adam's children?
You mean like a?
Is Cain's name mentioned in that genealogy of Adam's children? No, it is not. So that means that he is not counted as a son of Elohim. Could we safely say that?
Everybody else on that list is counted as
Son of Elohim. So if Cain is not counted as a son of Elohim, then guess what that means Cain is? A son of perdition. So that means he didn't get forgiven. Very small and simple point. I say it's obscure, but it's a very strong point. No, it's only obscure because I hear a lot of people say, why Cain ain't mentioned in the genealogy? He goes straight from Abel to Seth. Ain't no mention of Cain.
But you want to know something? After Cain left and God marked him, who's to say that he was running that other side of the garden and started a whole tribe and got a whole other
He did. He got him a wife in the land of Nod, got freaking, had kids and all. But that don't change the fact when Yahuwah gave the genealogy of Adam in the 5th chapter of Genesis to Moses, Cain was not there. He was not there. He is not a son of Elohim. He is not a son of Elohim.
Go past Abraham.
Not a son of Elohim. They're not counted as sons.
Then that's his son.
And he said anybody that is not as counted as a son is a what? And a bastard shall not enter into the body, the house, the assembly, the congregation of Yahuwah for what? Ever. Ever. Because he said anybody who don't want to chase the chastisement of Elohim is not a son, but a bastard. See, that's what Esau's sin was. His hunger was to suffer him to see if he would keep this man's word or no. And he chose a bowl of beans. So he can't be counted as a son. You's a bastard.
You want to know something? I'm glad you said that. Who's to say that Cain's side of the family is not the one that's pretty much running this world and mass?
I mean, that's a whole other conversation that we're not going to have at this time. You know what I'm saying? I understand that, but that's a whole other conversation.
Devil running the world, son. Sorry, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he not the son of God anymore, so who's to say he's not?
Anybody who commits sin is son of the devil.
And they enjoying their dominion right now.
But they got 5 seconds to repent, they can't get back on
It ain't no such thing as 5 seconds to repent. That ain't no bull.
5 seconds?
There's no time limit on it. All you gotta do is just, if you sincerely do it from your heart.
Who told you that? And why did you believe it?
Okay, is there, no, I don't know. What I'm saying is that how I repent, I don't see.
What is the definition of repent?
Is coming to God and really sincerely.
That is not the correct answer.
Saying, what is
Turn.
that means turn around and not do it.
Absolutely. You can't do that in 5 seconds. And then you die. You going to hell.
Hey, that's real though.
Give me Ezekiel 18 and 20 for that conversation. Matter of fact, 18 and 30. There ain't no such thing as repentance in 5 seconds and you straight. Then what was I living righteous for all these years for? I might as well send it up, and when I think I'm finna die, Father, forgive me, I'm sorry. No, you going to hell.
Oh, forgive me.
No.
21 days to change the habit. That's what the book says.
Listen, no, the book don't tell you to take on 21 days to change no habit. Where you get that from?
My bad. You had the book.
Let that go. Let that go. Let that go. Let that go. Yeah. No, what I'm telling you is you can say I repent, but if you don't got the ruach, you still going to hell. So you got to have the ruach. If you don't have the what you would say the Holy Ghost, if you don't have the Spirit of Mashiach, you're none of his. You're going to hell. I don't care how many laws you kept. I know you don't know that. Most people don't know that. That's why I keep telling everybody in the room, what is your why? Why are you serving Yah? Why do you want eternal life? Why are you sacrificing? Why are you denying yourself? Why do you believe? Because if you don't have an answer to them whys, you are doing this in vain. Because the goal is to get eternal life and receive the Ruach. If you do not receive the Ruach, you are not a son or daughter of the living Elohim. If everybody in this room say I ain't got the Ruach, and we in this building with the catch on fire and all of us die, we gonna catch on fire again. Cause we going to hell. He ain't gonna look at, boy, they kept that Sabbath now. Woo, boy, them boys ain't eat no pork. When he do like Isaac did and take that smell of your raiment and he don't smell that Ruach, you going to hell.
So my thing is, let's say you got the Ruach and
You good.
sin.
That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen.
It's supposed to be the sin.
That's not gonna happen.
Temptation gift to turn reprobate.
That's
Yes.
the whole thing what we've been talking about. Once you get the
Once you get the
Ruach,
Ruach,
it's
The word is inside of you. So something in you is going to stop you. Because that word is in you. That's why he said you wouldn't need somebody to tell you not to do something. Because the word is inside of you. So that is what stops you from doing something. So you don't need somebody to tell you, don't steal. Don't lie. You know that ain't your wife. You better put your penis back in your pants. You know what I'm saying? That ain't your, period. Whether that's fornication, adultery, whatever. That's the whole point. Because now you have actually became like Elohim. You're like him and he don't sin.
That's what we talk about. We say, son, if you a son,
You like
your
him.
father. Yeah.
He don't sin. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not difficult. It's just about self-control. It's not difficult. I'm gonna put it why it's difficult. It's difficult when you don't have a disciplined character.
So my thing right now, and I'm saying, so you telling me once you had the Ruach.
I'm not telling you this. I'm saying that's what the word say.
Okay, the word says, my thing is, we not perfect people. You know what I'm saying?
Who told you that?
Nobody, no, the word says.
The book don't tell you that.
What I can say,
So,
get up here.
The book don't tell you that. See, again, that's my point. People say things about the word and don't actually know what's contained in it. Our father,
let's say that.
hold on, our father Jacob, I'm going to tell you, in Genesis 25, you can read about verse 28, it says that Jacob was a plain man. In Hebrew, that word for plain is tam, and that word means perfect, innocent, and just and moral man. That's what it means.
You said 25 to 38.
I said about 27 or 28, whatever it is. It's Genesis 25. Now,
Read about Job.
Job, it said Job was a perfect man who eschewed evil. It said that Noah was perfect in all his generations. Mashiach say, be ye perfect as your father and Shamahim is perfect. Deuteronomy 18 and 13 say, thou shalt be perfect with Yahuwah thy Elohim. Shall I continue?
John the Baptist daddy.
Well, I know you can be perfect. I look at people like,
But you're going to understand something. Perfection means to be complete, to be whole, to be sound. See, we look at perfection and saying people may have flaws of men. That doesn't mean it's a sin. You know what I'm saying? See, people look at perfect as it's not nothing going to be wrong with this person. No, that's not what that means. That means you don't have a sin. You don't commit sin. That means you're perfect and complete in Elohim. I mean, if you're complete, that means the Ruach is inside of you and you inside of that. But you might have certain character traits that people don't like. Well, not character, personality traits that people don't like. Because your personality is what makes up who you are. But your character is what you do. See, there's a difference. See, your character is what you do. You can't really change your personality, but you can change your character. You know what I'm saying?
makes sense, but then you got to think about last one.
I imagine. Continue on, sir, because we have to proceed.
I had that Ezekiel. Go ahead.
18 to 20. You can give him 30 anyway. Just because I asked for it.
Yeah. Hey,
Young Henry, it's okay, man.
if you gonna cry, go ahead. Proceed.
Yes, please. I don't think your Yama or your mama want to hear none of that. I hope you ain't laying there with your butt in there. Because that means you asking for a beat. Hey, somebody come get it. Somebody come get it. Give him some comfort. Some southern comfort. Without the whiskey. Give him some comfort.
Now,
Yeah, just give him some comfort. That's all he needed is a little comfort. See? That's all he needed. 18 and 30. Ezekiel. That's all he needed was a little comfort.
it said, wherefore I will judge you, O house of Yasharal, everyone according to his ways, saith Yahuwah.
What did he say after that?
Repent.
Do what?
Repent.
And what did he say you need to do?
And turn yourselves from all your transgressions.
Mm-hmm.
So iniquity shall not be your ruin.
That's what it is to repent without even reading no definition. Book tell you what that is. You have to turn. And then see anybody can say I repent and still don't believe and you still going to hell.
Because you don't believe that you can stop with change.
But that ain't even to believe, like you don't even believe in Elohim because you ain't never heard of it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no way in the world when people be dead and they be like this here, they gave their life to Jesus before they died. That nigga gave their life to nothing. So I tell a nigga quick, don't call me and then talking about doing read no word to you on your deathbed. Shoot, save your breath, my nigga. You gonna need it. I can't do nothing for you.
Oh, you gonna need that breath, man.
I can't do nothing for you. Ain't no 10-minute salvation. Ain't no deathbed salvation. Ain't nowhere in that book you got a deathbed salvation. Only thing they gonna pull is cuz on the stake, and that's just testifying to something else. No deathbed salvation. Ain't nowhere in that book. They say if you commit sin, then you shall die in it. If you die in your sins, you scarred. Wages of sin is death. And if you don't receive the Ruach, you still in your sins. And you haven't received the free gift because you haven't been converted. That means you haven't been born again. See, that's the part they hit. How you gonna be on your deathbed talking about I repent? You got to be born of water and Ruach. Where was your immersion at on your deathbed? I can't bring no water on you now. I can't get no base in him like this here. The power of Christ compels you. You going to hell.
They wash their hands.
Straight up. Nigga around here got dirty water talking about this holy water. Nigga, going to hell. Ain't no such thing as holy water. Ain't no set apart water. Water is water.
That's what they do in St. Vincent's Catholic Hospital.
Yeah, they do that in all them churches. We got some holy water. Got a cracker selling holy water in a bottle. Ain't no such thing as holy water. It's a separate anointing oil. But shoot, high priest deal with that. So,
and that's still olive oil, just anointed.
That's it.
For real. Yeah,
Ain't no such thing as holy water. None. Nigga done got some water and they got nigga thinking this special water. That nigga got that out the tap. Nigga might even pissed in it and all. Talking about that holy water.
That was funny.
That water cloudy. You ain't never noticed how cloudy that water is. That water ain't even blue. I'm telling you, somebody done did something. That nigga done bathed. That nigga done gave y'all his bath water.
Yeah, I got it.
Come on, man. Yeah, go by the Genesis 42, man. I forgot the point was that. I believe them niggas do be shooting niggas that bath water. Shooting niggas rain water, sewer water. Talking about that holy water.
I think when they try to baptize you, that's what it
But yeah, I think they fill that bathtub up with baptism. They be baptized like 10 niggas in the same tub water.
Yes, they do.
Same bath water.
All white.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
We take a nigga outside.
In the regular water.
The crazy thing about it,
I don't know
in
what
church, it was like,
Yeah,
it was in the church.
42 though. I believe it. I don't care where it was at. Ain't no such thing as holy water. Only set apart water you need is your bathtub. It's time to wash your behind. That's about it. What verse you in, sir?
Around about 22.
Read it again.
It said, Reuben answered them, saying, Spake I not unto you, saying, Do not sin against the child.
He say, hold on. Who did the same thing?
Don't do this.
Don't do this. Who did the same thing?
Pilate.
Pilate. Go ahead.
It said,
Matter of fact, before Pilate did it, let me take that back. Pilate's wife did that. Go ahead.
it says, Do not sin against the child, and he will not hear. Therefore, behold, his blood is required.
Woo!
And they
Hold on. Also his what?
It says, also his blood is required.
So who's the blood required of? Give me Luke, man. What verse that is? Luke 13? No, it's Luke 12, man. Let me look. I think it's Luke 13. Forget, that's the twins by there. Man, brought them out here in the cold. They ain't happy. Make it Matthew 23, man. It might actually be Luke 12. Let's make it 23, because I know that's at the top of my head. Give me 23 and 33.
Why didn't you go there first?
No, because I thought it was, and I believe it is 12 or 11. It's probably Luke 11. It is Luke 11, but I done said Matthew 23. Yeah, I know it, but it's Luke 11. I have to verify that for my own self. Go ahead, Matthew 23 and 33. Yeah, it was Luke 11. But you in Luke 11? Oh, no, I'm saying I thought you were. Go ahead. You was? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Ye serpents, ye generation of vipers, how can ye escape the damnation
Matthew
of hell?
23 and 30.
33, right?
Yeah. That's what I said. That's what you're reading, right?
Yeah.
10 and 33, right?
Yeah.
23 and 33.
Yeah, 23 and 33 of Matthew. It says, fill ye up the measure, then the measure of your fathers. Ye serpents, O generation of vipers, how can ye escape the damnation of hell? Wherefore, behold, I send unto you the prophets and the wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues and persecute them from city to city.
Yep.
That upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth.
Hold on, and that's what they said, right? Because they killed the right. Because what does the law say? Does anybody know what the law says when it speaks about that? Whosoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood must be shed. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. So this is why Reuben knows this. Reuben knows if you kill a man, your blood has to be spilled. You gotta remember now, how does Reuben know this? Because Jacob taught it to him. Who taught it to Jacob? Isaac taught it to him. Who taught it to Isaac? Abraham taught it to him.
That comes from after Moses.
That's before Moses. That's before Moses. And you know who started all that teaching from the jump street? Adam. And all it is imperative of how a righteous man is supposed to teach us how. Can't none of us say we believe in Elohim if we don't follow the example of Abraham and you the head of a household when he say, I know he'll do justice and judgment and teach his sick children in the way of Yahuwah. That's what a man is supposed to do. It didn't say the wife was supposed to do it. It said the man would teach his household. That's what our law says. So that's what a man is supposed to do. So you supposed to know the law and the way of Yahuwah enough to teach it to your household. You don't have to be no expert scribe. You do have to be competent enough to be able to impart the information that they can understand it. We ain't talking about necessarily opening up no text, but they definitely need to know justice and judgment. They definitely need to know the way to the highest that covers sins, or you can't say you were son of Abraham at that point. And the first thing that would be able to make you to do that is that you would have to be able to discipline your own behavior. If you can't discipline your own, how can you lead if you can't even discipline your own behavior? Then the whole household is going to be chaotic because they're going to be following after you. If you undisciplined, 99.9% of the time, they will be undisciplined. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're not passionate about it, they won't be passionate about it. Because the household is usually going to be set by the mind frame of the man who leads it. Is that what our law say? What does our law say? Our law say the desire. See, we was going to talk about that, but I'll just wait. Because you know our law say that the wife's desire going to be the who. So that means her desire going to be the whatever direction this man is leading her in. There's a piece of wisdom that man said if that man can't lead, you ain't got no business following him anyway. Because see, we had that conversation last week on the matter. See, most dudes think what make them a husband is if they can pay the bills. What makes you a qualified husband is not if you can pay the bills, because simps, suckers, and busters pay bills. You know what I'm saying? I'm dead serious though. I'm not being funny. I'm dead serious though. But can you lead this household? Can you build this household? What is the vision and direction that you plan to take this woman and the subsequent children that you would have? That's what's going to separate a man from a boy, a simp from a man. Because anybody can do that. It is not difficult to pay bills. Get a job, pay them. Create a job, pay your bills. You know what I'm saying? That goes back to what we were talking about earlier. 18, 19-year-old kids, I'm grown because you paying bills. That doesn't make you a mature adult because you paying bills. You're paying bills because you have to. Because if you didn't have to, you wouldn't pay them. I guarantee you, any one of y'all stay anywhere you dwell at, and the people didn't require you to pay no rent, you wouldn't shoot them a dime. Pay you for what? If JEA wouldn't cut them lights off, you wouldn't shoot them a dime. If you could walk in the grocery store and just pick and grab whatever you want, you wouldn't drop a dime on it.
Thank you and good night.
If you could get clothes and you ain't have to pay for them, come on, man. You got dudes that wouldn't even get women if they ain't had no money. Nigga straight nerd. Nigga just like this here, flash their money, man. Straight up. And I ain't talking about nerd because of intelligence, just a straight lane. Wouldn't even have no woman, he ain't had no money. And I ain't talking about had no money to be able to provide. I'm talking about he doesn't have anything other to attract a woman other than the fact that he has some money and he can buy stuff. You have no substance. You ain't got no direction. Just because you got money don't mean you got no direction or vision either. Mediocre. Mediocre wide receiver. That's all the nigga wanted. A mediocre nigga.
I can go eat.
I'm dead serious though. Like, because that's what most people most women are judge a man by, can he pay the bills? That doesn't mean that he's sufficient to lead a household. You know what I'm saying? That we were discussing the other day. You want a woman who could cook? You would, but you what qualities that you would do? Would you define what makes a wife? Because she submits. I know whores that submit. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make her wife material. I know plenty of hoes that for the nigga they with, they gonna do whatever he say and move on to the next nigga. Because you ain't got to be no hoe by sleeping with multiple different people. You could just be a hoe by going from boyfriend to boyfriend. I broke up with this nigga, now I'm with this nigga. And you know what the common denominator in all that is? They were submitting to all of these men as if they were their husband. I seen too many niggas do it. Nigga say, how you had a nigga on Wednesday, you broke up with a nigga on Friday, got a new nigga in your house 2 weeks later. Talking about this is my new boo. How does that happen? How does that occur? Our law tells us do not prostitute the daughters of Yasharal, and there will be no whores, no sodomites among the sons and daughters of Yasharal. So that means that we have to teach our households differently. See, I was having this conversation with my homegirl about this, and since I just mentioned it, we'll look at it now. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, right? Pick me up about verse 21. Only because I had a conversation with this nigga before she went and did the idiotic stuff that she did. You know what I'm saying?
71.
20. Tell me what 20 say.
It says, let every man abide in the same calling wherein he was called. Art thou called being a servant? Care not for it, but if thou mayest be made free, use it rather. For he that is called in Yahuwah, being a servant, is Yahuwah's freeman. No, notice again, a servant would be what? A prisoner, right? So anybody who's supported by the head is a what? A free man. But niggas don't want to be prisoners of a Mashiach. Niggas don't want to be prisoners of Yahuwah. See, I'm getting it, son. So just bear with me, because it's 4:30. I got enough time. Come on, we just taking the detour with that because I mentioned it because we had this conversation last week. And I'll say it again. Ain't not a single solitary woman in here got no business submitting to any man who is not her husband. Period. Under no circumstance. No man in here ain't got no business catering to a woman as if she is his wife. If that is not his wife, ain't got no business doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? And truth be told, you should already know what quality and characteristics that you desire in a husband and a wife before you even start dating anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because I would already know if a woman in the word that she would know submission to her husband is a given because that's what she's commanded to do. So I need to know the things about her character and personality first. That's what's most important to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Does she have the ability to really be a helpmeet? So I don't care nothing about you listening because I'm not an insecure man, so I'm not worried about a woman listening to me. Can you be a helpmeet? Can you assist in whatever it is that I'm trying to do? Can you add to the vision that I have, and can you help me manifest it? I don't care nothing about you telling me where you going because I trust you, so I don't really care where you going. Because if I catch you with a penis in your mouth, I'm going to discard you. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not that big of a deal. I don't need to have tabs on you. I don't care who you with. Do you know what I'm saying? Because your loyalty should be to me anyway, if we together. Because I use that in the same context of our loyalty should be to Yahuwah. So it don't matter who I come across. I don't care if I come across all these people talking about Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. My loyalty doesn't change because I'm surrounded by you. My loyalty doesn't change. I don't care nothing about all these people talking about ho, 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 Merry Christmas. That's you, nigga. Don't invite me to your Christmas party. No, I don't want your gift. And no, I ain't coming to your New Year's party. Which case in point, it would better serve nigga than slide that thing on Sunday anyway, because that's what a nigga was finna be in there doing. What old DC Young Fly, man. That's why the tickets were so expensive. Remember I told you about that other week. That's why the tickets were so expensive. Because they were having a New Year's party. I told you I had one ticket, they giving a nigga free bottle of champagne, a meal, and everything. Go party with him.
I don't want to party with that nigga. I pray the Lamb. Party with that nigga. The niggas in here talking about Happy Janice. Now I done defiled myself.
Gotta laugh, man.
Gotta laugh in, but now I'm going to hell. Oh, why I came in here. Because that's how you go to feeling when niggas around you go to doing stuff like that. You be like, you just go to looking around like, why did I come here tonight? I should have stayed home. Yeah, but you know they gonna drag that junk all the way out to midnight. Well, if you know black people don't know how to do nothing on them niggas say that concert last night, them niggas drug it out.
What kind?
I think Keisha Cole's here. KC and JoJo was here. 112 was here, if I'm not mistaken. Them niggas, I see them niggas say, bruh, it's midnight, I'm trying to get my Uber money. Well, you ain't gonna get it tonight, cuz. That's what you're done behind, get posted up at the arena, nigga. You go out there and get you some bread. You catch one, you catch one. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Keep going. I'm glad we did come to 1 Corinthians 7, because I can still weave in my main key point before we get out of here. Let's roll.
Weave it. It says, likewise also, he that is called being free is Mashiach's servant.
Mm-hmm. So if you free, you a Mashiach's prisoner then, don't it? So that means the head supports you. He props you up. Ain't no shame in that. You see, I remember somebody talking about you a prisoner of religion. I said, I sure am and proud of it. Prisoner of the Lord. I ain't got no problem with it. I ain't ashamed. Hope ain't none of y'all ashamed of it. Oh yeah, we got to drop down a little bit. Dude was just talking. Go ahead, man.
It says, ye are bought with the price.
You were bought with a what?
A price. Be not ye the servants of
You heard, we already talked about that. You bought with a what?
a price.
You've been redeemed. Don't be no servant of no man. Drop down to verse 32 though, because we don't need all the extras. Oh, my bad. It's actually in 27. Oh, keep on going straight down. I see it. Yeah.
It say, brother, let every man wherein he is called therein abide with Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
Now concerning virgins, I have no commandment of you, but I give my judgment as one that have obtained mercy of Yahuwah to be faithful.
What did he say?
I suppose therefore that this is good for the present distress. I say that it is good for a man.
Now this is Paul's opinion, so don't think that this is no law. He's just going to tell you what his opinion is on the matter. Look what he say.
Art thou bound to a wife?
He say if you got a wife, what he say?
Seek not to be
He say don't leave him.
Art thou loose from a wife?
He said if you ain't got one,
Seek not
he
a
say
wife.
don't. But that's his opinion. He said this ain't a commandment of the Most High. Go ahead.
But if thou marry, thou hast not
That's
sinned.
why he had to turn around and tell him that. But if you do get married, you ain't committed no sin. Look at the next thing he say.
And if a virgin marry, she has not sinned.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh.
Yep.
But I spare you.
Go ahead.
But this I say, brother, the time is short, it remaineth, that both they that have wives as be though they have had none.
Go ahead.
And they that weep as though they wept not,
Mhm.
and they that rejoice as though they rejoiced not.
He quoting the book of Isaiah when he's talking about this here too in verse
And they
30.
that buy as though they had possessed not.
Go ahead.
And they that use this world as not abusing it for the fashion of this world.
Now listen to the thing that he's about to say.
But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried careth for the things that belongeth to the master. How he hath pleased.
So if you don't have no wife, then guess what your obligation is to? It's to the Most High. Listen to the next thing he say.
But he that is married careth for the things that are of the world. How he may.
This why you ain't got no business treating no woman you dating as if she your wife. You know what I'm talking about? Because at that point you're an idiot. You're going against what this book is telling you to do. Look at the next thing it say.
It said there's a difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman cares for the things of the master, that she may be Kadash both in body and in ruach. But she that is married cares for the things of the world.
And how she made what?
How she made.
See, this is the reason why why I made a statement that I made. If that's not your husband, that's not your duty to please this man. If you do it because you choose to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because it said how she must please her husband. You know what I'm talking about? See, that man's not your husband. So therefore, according to this word, of course you know the way people got married was drastically different at that time. You know what I'm talking about? When a lot of these things were written. But we come up in a society now that promotes you to do things backwards. You know what I'm talking about? Do you understand? Do you understand the quality of man or woman you would receive if you actually held the godly standard and held them to it and conducted yourself in such fashion? You can weed out the riffraff at that point. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, who wants to be married to a sinner? Like, who really wants to be married to a sinner? And you say, I'm a godly person or seeking to be a godly person. Ain't a godly person walking this planet gonna say, yeah, I want to be unequally yoked to an unbeliever. Sure, why not? Work out well for me. I know evil communication corrupt good manners, but shoot, I like them. They please me well. Like Samson said, she pleases me well. He said, son, why you can't marry a woman of your own people? Go ahead, man.
it says, "As this I speak for your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, and that ye may attend upon you."
And the only reason why this verse is because that was what Paul's point was. When you get married, you will get distracted. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, you may not be able to attain spiritually where you want to be at because your focus is going to go to your family. Is that telling people? Is he telling people not to get married? No, he was speaking his opinion. But in the reality of the matter is, he also know that the book says that a woman is to submit to herself to her husband as long as he is alive. Do you know what I'm saying? That boyfriend and girlfriend thing, that's Anglo-Saxon stuff. That's a new thing. When you got a spouse to somebody in that book, what did they call it? It said that was your wife. That was your husband. And it would have said with Mary and Joseph. They didn't say that was his girlfriend. It said that was his wife. Were they married yet? Absolutely not. And when he seen her pregnant, he was going to get rid of her because he had perceived that she had violated the conditions of the purchase agreement that had been entered into between the two. Nevertheless, Genesis 42. I don't know where he stopped at. Oh, he stopped in about verse 23. We in verse 23.
It said, "And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spake unto them by an interpreter."
So you know where Paul get that from? Don't be speaking in tongues without an interpreter. Go ahead.
"And he turned himself about from them and wept, and returned to them again, and communed with them, and took from them Simeon, and brought him before their eyes. Then Joseph commanded to fill their sacks with corn, and to restore every man's money into his sack."
He said to fill their sacks with what?
With corn. And to restore every man's money into his sack, and to give them provision for the way. And thus did he unto
Now
them.
let's pause. Remember, fill was the male, right? So you know that was the head teaching you of the ruach. That's what he said. So what is this corn that he filled their sacks with? Anybody know what this corn is that he filled their sacks with? Well, let's go back and let's look at the blessing that Isaac gave to Jacob, should we not? Genesis chapter 27, verse 25.
It says, "And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment."
When it said, remember when it said he smelled the smell of his raiment, it said he smelled the ruach. That's what that word in Hebrew actually says right there. He smelled the ruach. Go ahead.
And he rebuked him and said, See, the smell of my son is the smell of a field, which Yahuwah has baruch. Therefore,
So the smell of his son is the field or the ground that Yahuwah is baruch. Remember, the law states that Noah's name would be, I will comfort the ground which I have cursed, because he made man from dust and it was cursed. Now that same field is blessed. We talked about it Wednesday. He blessed it because Yahushua rose from the dead. All those that are in him will rise with him. Continue on, sir.
He said, See, the smell of my son is the smell of a field which Yahuwah hath baruch. Therefore, Elohim give thee of the dew of Shamahim and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine.
Plenty of what?
Corn and wine.
So what is this corn that he telling them to fill in their sacks? He told them to fill their sacks with corn. That is an article or a vessel. So what is this corn that he telling them to fill up in their vessels then? It's the word. But specifically, what is that corn? What is also referred to as corn in this book?
No.
It would be the manna. And what did Mashiach say that his body was compared to? The manna. He said that he was the manna that came from Shamahim. He said that he would fill their vessels. So then what we look at is being filled with what? Being filled with the Ruach. Remember what Joseph's name means, right? Do you remember what Joseph's name means? He's taken away my reproach. He is taking away the reproach off Reuben and them right now because they were talking about we're guilty and we've dishonored ourselves. We tried to kill our brother. And right now he say, fill they sacks up with corn. And then he said to restore to every man his what? His money. And he say and restore every man's money into a sack and give them provision for the way. Y'all know what a provision is. Let's see what a provision is. So we know what a provision is in English. And he said to give him food or victuals, meat. He said, John 6:53. So when we see what Joseph is really telling them about is the indwelling of the Ruach HaKodesh is what he's giving them to restore them because they say we are guilty. He said, are we not guilty? And after we read that, we'll read Romans 5:1. Because truly, aren't we guilty? Matter of fact, we'll get Romans 3 before Romans 5. Go ahead, sir.
John 6:53.
And also you can see how Joseph is the grace or the acceptance. He calls them to be accepted because Joseph was the separated seed. And if you want to see how Joseph is the separated seed, you can go study Genesis chapter 49 and about verse 22 right there. Starting at about verse 22. Because really it's actually in verse 25 how the blessings was upon him and him who was separated from his brethren. It ends in about verse 26 or 27. But Joseph's blessing in Genesis 49 started at verse 22. And it talked about how he was separated from his brethren. It's not Yahoo. So that would mean that Joseph was a separated seed. Was he not separated from all his brethren? Just like Yahushua was separated from all his brethren. And Joseph is the one who caused them to be accepted in the eyesight of Pharaoh to where no retribution fell on their head. Because just like Joseph told them in the 50th chapter of Genesis, what you thought to do to evil ended up being good for many. Saved many souls alive. So right then and there you see him putting inside their sacks the Ruach HaKodesh in them and sending them with meat on their way. Go ahead.
John 6:53. It say, then Yahushua said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat of flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye shall have no life in you.
No life.
Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him.
Now I'm going to ask y'all a question. Did they lock any of Joseph's brothers up when they came into Egypt? Who was that he locked up? And why did he lock Simeon up? Now the reason why I'm doing it because this is a segue. See, we're about to segue. You know what I'm saying? The transition to another point. Because we see that them putting the provision in they what is because the brothers came back, correct? So therefore he filled them up when they realized that they were guilty. So he set them free, correct? Isaiah 14:14. Isaiah 14:14.
It said, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit.
To the sides of the what?
Of the pit.
So that's the prison. Come on.
They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdom?
Yep.
That made the world as a wilderness.
Made the world as a what?
As a wilderness.
And what else?
And destroyed the cities thereof.
And destroyed the cities thereof.
That opened not the house of the prisoners.
Now you notice how he said, open not the house of the prisoners? But that's not what it actually says. When we look in there, and what it says, not the house, is just the bot. You understand? So it says he opened the house of the prisoners, is what it actually says. Of course, you know, for prisoners, what word do we have there? We have the assert, or the head that supports. So it said he opened the house of the prisoners. Now remember, we talked about the prisoners, you prisoners of hope, and also the things that pertain to captivity. So that means he came to set you free. This is what the grace came to do. This is what the kaya came to do. All of this stuff came to do was to set you free. So now we have to sit back and look at dealing with being set free. The first thing I want to do is hit what I mentioned to y'all in Job, the 3rd chapter, and pick me up at about verse 10. That's the first thing I want to do.
Job.
Yeah, chapter 3 and verse 10. That's the first thing I want to do. Let me swing my way on one of that. See if verse 10 is a good location for us to begin. Verse 10 is not a good location for us to begin. Let's look at 13. 3 and 13.
It says, "For now should I have lain still and been quiet, I should have slept, then had I been at rest.
Yep.
With kings and counselors of the earth which built desolate places
Yep.
for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver.
Yep.
Or as a hidden untimely birth, I had not been as infants which never saw light.
Yep.
There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at
He
rest.
said there the weary be at what?
At rest.
Didn't that man say, all you that are heavy laden and weary, come unto me and I'll give you? You gotta realize something. When we were in Egypt, we were weary. We were weary from the oppression. Now, we mentioned it last night in Romans, you should have been weary from all, and that's the point of, and that's probably why some of y'all might get complacent at time to time, because you're so young, you ain't actually had enough time to live to be weary of anything. You know what I'm saying? Most of you probably ain't had enough experiences where you've been emotionally exhausted, mentally exhausted, and possibly spiritually exhausted, to where you're that weary. You know what I'm saying? See, when you haven't had a lot of experiences or maybe a lot of adversity or tribulation, it can cause complacency. This is why he takes us to tribulations and afflictions, so you don't never get complacent. Because the minute you get comfortable, that's when you feel like I can go slide and commit me a sin real fast, or your faith dip off. The most powerful person on this earth is a faithful man or woman. When I say faithful, not just to the obedience to the word, but someone who has an unwavering, undying, unbreakable trust and hope in the living Elohim. It's the most powerful individual you ever come across in your lifetime. Also, the most wealthy person you'll come across in your lifetime, because he said he promised the kingdom to those who were poor, but yet had great riches. Because we don't esteem the thing. See, we talked about last night in Proverbs 24. It says, by wisdom is a house building, and by understanding it's established. So by the skill of war, you're able to build a house, and by having the insight in Mashiach, you're able to have a firm foundation. He says, so therefore, through knowledge, you can fill your inner man with pleasant riches. See, we don't seek to fill our inner man. This is why he told you don't be concerned with the cares and affairs of this life and the deceitfulness of riches, because it will choke off the word and you won't bring forth no fruit. Because where a man treasure is, his heart will be also. So if we treasure the things of this life, we'll chase after the things of this life. If we treasure the things that are in Shamahim, then you'll chase after the things that are in Shamahim. This is why he said, I'll fill your provisions, I'll fill your sack up with provision to help you on your way. Because if you have the word dwelling in you, it can direct you in the way that you ought to go. The book does says a good man's steps are ordered by Yahuwah. Well, how else are your steps going to be ordered by him if his word does not abide in you? See, there's a lot of misconceptions, distortions, and fallacies that are spoken about the word of Elohim, because 95% of the population don't even open up the book and read it. I seen a nigga the other day say, if you really want to understand the Tanakh or the New Testament, to go enroll in a university. How would I dare go be taught of Elohim? I seen a nigga literally say that it don't matter if a man believe in Yah or not if he understand the language. How would I dare be taught by a sinner and an unbeliever on how to believe and follow someone he doesn't believe or follow? That doesn't make logical sense. But people believe that though. People say that though. I've seen people say that and second that motion. I'm not enrolling in no university to be taught by no atheists. A lot of the people who teach scriptures in universities are atheists. So they're only teaching the word from an academic perspective. They can't teach it from the perspective of the deliverance of the soul, because they're not concerned with it, because they don't even believe in it.
I was just having this conversation with Darius in the car. I was telling him that, and I'm bringing up random preachers, like, for example, like T.D. Jakes, like, y'all say false prophet.
I don't say it false prophet, the book do.
They have one, only got an hour on one channel on basic cable, right? I'm
Mhm.
telling him that, hey, I can turn on the radio right now and listen to Kendrick Lamar and like his stuff playing worldwide.
And
Everybody not gonna watch that channel. What I'm saying is that more people listen to music than they would do just somebody preaching on TV. Nobody watches the preachers on TV. Except nobody really do. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're going to a church. So my thing is, but people gonna hear the radio first. So how is the message gonna get to those people that listen to music?
Cause guess what? The message gonna get to whoever y'all wanted to get to. You ain't gonna be saved by listening to no music. Books say they'll be saved by preaching. So I don't care how many songs you make. Nigga still going to hell because he can't get the fullness of the understanding through no song.
It don't even have to be a song. It could like, I mean, it could be like, you know, a play or like even a commercial. Like, it's so much stuff on the radio that they got that.
Statement still stands. He only gonna be saved by preaching. Faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word of Elohim. Not by commercial, not by play, not by movie, not by song. If they gonna be saved, they gonna have to be taught this word.
We're gonna have to sit down and read it and hear it.
Yeah, they gonna have to hear it. They gonna have to be taught.
Like for example, I was taught about some of these rappers' lives just by listening to the CD.
Okay, but you can't be taught about Elohim by listening to no CD. I guarantee you that, because you can't put this what we talk about in no song. Because ain't nobody finna listen to that.
So you can't put the Bible on the song.
Who gonna listen to that? Nobody listens to music to be preached to. Nobody listens to music to be preached to.
You just proved that by what you said. People not gonna go watch nobody or sit down. Why would
Because you understand something, right? Again, the case in point, what I just mentioned, Proverbs 24:4 is what I'm referencing. It says, by wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding is it established, and by knowledge is the chambers filled with pleasant riches. So the only way that you can get that is that the word has to be preached unto you.
It says it has to be. Where in the world does it say?
Isaiah 52:7, sir. Let's roll.
What?
And after that, Romans chapter 10. That's nothing. Because they ain't had no plays and radios in the time of Moses. That's a new thing. That's white people stuff. White people made us believe that we can't learn except we be entertained.
You said Isaiah 52:37.
I said it 7. Let's Isaiah 52:7. It might be verse 10. It might. We gonna get there in a minute. Come on. Just tell me what it say. I'll work our way up.
it says, how beautiful upon the mountain
Praise the Lamb.
are the feet of him that bring good tidings.
That bring what?
Good tidings.
Anybody know what tidings are? That's a message. What else he say?
That publish peace.
That publish what?
Peace.
And what else?
And bringing good tidings that bringing good tidings of good and publishes salvation.
Publishing salvation. Now let's see what the Hebrew word for publishing is.
I know what publish means.
No, we talking about the Hebrew word. We ain't talking about English.
I know what salvation is.
But we ain't talking about English though. Listen though, we ain't talking about English. We ain't talking about English. The word publish is shamar. That is to hear, to listen, and to obey.
Okay.
So there's a difference. So when it say publish, we ain't talking about put something out. That means for you to hear so if you hear something, what somebody got to do? They got to be talking on. So then let's get Romans 10:14 for them.
Audio. What about the book audio? You know, book audio, like you listen to it, you still being teach.
No, you ain't being taught. You can listen to the Bible, you ain't learn nothing. The book say somebody got to teach you. See, the book gonna tell you that.
They can teach you through earphones.
No. So you can listen to the. How many? Hey, I'm asking y'all a question. How many of y'all used to listen to the Bible and still didn't know what it was talking about? How many of y'all used to read the Bible and still didn't know what it was talking about? So clearly that wasn't teaching you nothing.
No, it's about understanding it.
Well, how you gonna understand it unless a man teach it to you? Who know what he talking about?
He basically saying that somebody like you got on the audio headset.
But you still be. But the thing is though, that means you listening to a sermon on audio. You still hearing the word preached. You being taught.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
You still being taught.
Right. So my thing is though, what's the difference on the audio? Somebody talking versus them putting a little rhythm in it.
You can't put no because it's not for your entertainment. See, that's the whole thing you're missing.
Songs for entertainment, though.
Songs are for entertainment.
Okay, so let's just say for learning purposes.
Because the only song that you can make would be a song of praise, and you still can't teach a person out of a song of praise.
Okay, my thing is this: it doesn't say in the Bible, it doesn't say anywhere in the Word where it's talking about you, like.
Yeah, it is. Romans 10:14. He finna read it to you.
No, you didn't let me finish. You have to, like, for example, there's a one word where it says that you can't be entertained by the word. As a matter of fact, God said, okay, in the word it does say, come as you are.
No, it does not. No, it is not.
Come as you are?
No, it is not. It said, wash you, make you clean. He ain't say come as you are. He said, don't you bring that raggedy junk to me, nigga. Where you got that at? That's what
Wash
nigga.
make you clean.
Isaiah 1:16. No,
Oh, no, I still want you to
Come as you
still on
are.
the publishing part.
okay, that means Shema. Shema goes back to hear, O Yasharal, Yahuwah your Elohim is one. That means to listen. That's why he say, take the more earnest heed to the things you have heard, lest they slip. The only way you can hear it is if a man preaches it to you.
Okay, so let me ask you something. What about those folks that grew up in the church that were scarred because they got hurt in the church? How are you going to reach to those folks?
I can't reach anybody. I can't reach anybody. Yah has to touch their heart to be open to receiving the word. I can't do nothing but preach it. I can't do nothing.
I'm scarred though. How you?
Well, you scarred because you allow yourself to be scarred and wallow in your victimhood instead of healing and getting over it.
So what other way am I going to? First of all, what about I live in Georgia too. There's some people that stay way out in the country, you know, with no trees.
Yeah.
So how they gonna come to hear you speak in Jacksonville?
Well, y'all gonna get the word to everybody by whatever means he chooses to get it to them.
That's why you got music.
No. That's your person. Is that word? Or is that your personal opinion?
Okay, for example.
Is that word? Or is that your personal opinion? Is that word? Or is that your personal opinion?
About what?
What you just said.
What? Talking about technology?
Yeah. Let's get Romans 10:14. We gotta proceed.
Look.
It just don't make sense though.
It ain't got. It makes sense. It makes clear. He say understanding is plain to them. He say my words are plain to them who have understanding. Romans 10:14.
Okay, so
Romans 10:14. The book finna tell you. I ain't finna talk. Yahuwah Elohim gonna tell you about it.
no, I got it.
No, we got to
How then
roll.
shall
Man.
they call on him who they have not believed?
Mhm.
And how shall they believe in him who they have not
Whom they have not what?
heard?
Go ahead.
And how shall they hear without a preacher?
How should they hear without a what?
A preacher.
A what?
A preacher.
And what else?
And how shall they preach except they be sent?
So the only way you can preach the word is if Elohim sent you. That's John 13:20. What else?
As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach.
He's quoting what we just read in Isaiah 52:7. He's quoting that. He's saying a man has to come preach the gospel of shalom to you.
And bring glad
Because we have to look at the operation of Elohim and not technology. The operation of Elohim is I send men to preach people my word. That is the operation of Elohim.
And what scripture is that? You just read.
That is Romans 10. We're not done. Keep going.
It says, but they have not all obeyed.
They have not all what?
They have not all obeyed.
So they all didn't listen. Go
For
ahead.
God said, Yahuwah who has believed our report.
Yeah.
So then faith coming by hearing
And hearing come by
the
what?
word of Elohim.
Somebody got to preach the word to you. Somebody has to teach it to you. How is our people taught the word? The Levites taught them the law. And he sent prophets to prophesy of things to come. Now in the body of Mashiach, he has given you apostles, prophets, preachers, teachers, and evangelists, or pastors I should say, versus the preachers, to teach the people the word that they may come into the unity of the faith and into the knowledge of Yahushua HaMashiach. So ain't no music gonna do it. You can rap till your face get blue and praise be to Yah for giving you a gift to be able to manifest music. Ain't gonna save nobody's soul.
So you telling me that in order for somebody to actually like get to that point where they get the Holy Ghost and everything, they need somebody physically in their face to say
They have to be taught the word, whether they get it off a video of a sermon, whether they listen. But it's not. No, nigga, don't you dare say no music video. You know nigga finna get saved off watching niggas act. Are you serious, nigga?
No, but that's word though.
no, but I'm saying is PlayStation 4 in here? Is Mac in the Bible? What's up the new technology? Are we bringing in what's the new stuff?
I don't care. See, that's the problem. He say seek ye the old path and you'll find rest for your soul. But come on back to where we was at.
But my thing is the old path is the old path. I got it's just a Samsung 8 just came out, right?
Hey man, I'm short on time, man. I don't have time for this right
But the
now.
old path is not getting people where they need to be.
Cause they ain't supposed to go there. They supposed to go to hell. Cause he said, "Oh, I'm gonna tell you this here. Cause I'm gonna end this conversation. We gonna listen." He said, "Seek ye the old path, and you'll find rest for your soul." And you know what he said? The exact same thing that you just said. We will not walk therein.
Okay, one thing I'm gonna say. It does not say in the Bible that you have to be in front of somebody for them to get the word.
You just heard it.
Not in front of somebody.
Ma, please, ma. Don't do that.
Oh, no,
Don't do
no,
that.
no, no.
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
you
Don't do
can't, you
that.
can't be in front of you.
But they ain't talking about being free. You still gotta hear him preach. Whether they watching it on the computer, whether they listening to it.
Sit here, right?
Yeah, they gotta hear somebody preach.
Somebody has to teach you the
They
word.
can't see though. What about
They can listen to it.
I mean, I can't see. Are you serious? Come on, man.
He said, listen, right? What's up about listen? Audio. That's what I'm saying.
You're listening to the word of Elohim. Guess what? They're in. Is everybody in here listening right now? Correct. They're also listening, and you make a fool out of yourself. But all these people in here listening.
No, bro.
Right. You listen, understand. You could hear the word, audio, YouTube. You can hear it, headphones, all that. Somebody's teaching you the word, but not from a music standpoint.
No, okay. I'm not saying.
16 bars ain't gonna save your soul, baby Paul. It ain't gonna do it.
Right. But see, my thing is, it's people that's in the country who don't have TVs who just listen to radio.
So he sends people to them in the flesh.
Yeah,
No,
that's
everybody
what
wants to go to
But you don't know that. Listen, you don't know what God does.
Hey, but check this out, right? Check this out, right? That conversation is over with. Back to Isaiah 14. Yeah, please. I got a point to complete. I got to nip that in the bud right now. So notice he said that he opened the prison for the prisoners, right? You know what I'm talking about? Now come on, swing to me to Isaiah 61. Go, just give me Luke 4 and 16. It don't make no difference. Yeah, you know, we already know that. Y'all in here should know that. You're saved by the foolishness of preaching. That's the only way, man.
I'm not saying you wrong. I'm just saying.
I don't matter. I don't care if you say I'm wrong or not. The book right.
I'm not just. What I'm saying is that if people can, as long as they can hear the word.
I know. Luke 4 and 16.
What's up, baby?
We already agreed to that. We already agreed to
Let it go, baby. Just let it go. Just let it go. 4 and 18. 4 and 16. Just let it go. Take the pentagram.
And he came to Nazareth where he was brought up, and his custom was, and he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath and stood up to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found a place where it was written, The Spirit of Yahuwah is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, and he hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, and preach deliverance unto the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind.
Now let's go back to Job, because he said to preach deliverance to the who? The prisoners of hope, by the blood of the covenant, like we read in Zechariah. Come on back though, Job 3. Pick me up in verse 18, because I got 30 minutes.
It said, there the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor.
The prisoners do what?
The prisoners rest.
Who is the oppressor that they no longer hear his voice?
The adversary.
The adversary. Come on.
It says, the small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master.
Who is the servant free from his what?
His master.
Who is his master? To whom you ever yield your member servants to obey is to whom you obey, whether sin unto death or obedience unto life. Go ahead. Listen what he's saying in verse 20. This is the most important part we came here for.
Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery.
Light is given to who?
Him that is in misery.
And what else?
And life unto the bitter in soul.
Now I'm asking y'all a question here who knows. What was something that you were supposed to eat during Passover that lines up to what that last part about life is given unto the bitter soul? You were supposed to eat bitter herbs. Does anybody know what the law say why you were supposed to eat bitter herbs? So you will remember the bondage. So you will remember your suffering. So that you would understand. And that's why he said, and guess what was given to the bitter soul when they were eating them? He brought them out. Yahushua said he was exceedingly sorrowful even unto death. He gave him life to a bitter soul. Now we'll pull the word for bitter in this particular passage. Bitter in soul. And that word is mar, and it's also the end of wickedness, of pain, heavy, or water or food. So we can sit back and say he gives life to him that is in pain and anguish in the soul. Did we already read how he said that when they seen Joseph in anguish, they disregarded him? Was not a Mashiach on the stake groaning in anguish? And he gave life to him. This takes us back to what the suffering and the furnace of affliction and the anguish that a man is in, and he gives life unto those who follow after. See, niggas don't want that part of the game. That's why he told you take up his stake and follow him. Are you willing to forsake everything that you have? Are you willing to suffer for the word's sake? Are you willing to drink that cup and be immersed with the immersion that he's immersed with so he can give you life? That's why he say he exhorted the disciples to continue in the faith, because through much tribulation must we enter into the kingdom of Elohim. And see, people don't want that aspect of it. Now, you say you were hurt in church. I don't know what them people did to you. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm going to tell you like this here.
No, I didn't say I was. I said you got people that are scarred out here.
No, you said you were. You said
saying it in a metaphor.
No, I said.
I know he's
about that person.
I know, I heard that part.
I wasn't scarred.
Yeah, I know what I heard.
No, he did.
You did say that.
Okay,
But he was saying it like,
Let me change it. I ain't scarred from the church. I've been to a lot of churches, but I ain't no church.
Okay, but I mean, you ain't expressed that. I know I ain't crazy. I know what I
how he
heard.
meant it though. He was saying he
I
was
was
putting
listening.
stuff in their shoes. He was putting stuff in their shoes. Like,
At the end of the day, a lot of people ain't hurt for no church. A lot of people just hurt because they put expectations in men, put men as God, and then when these people didn't hold these expectations, now they want to blame it on the church when really they ain't want to do what they want to do anyway. And that gave them an out. Because unless a nigga beat you or molested you, them people ain't hurt you. You just may have been disappointed in men. That's about it. I know what you mean, because a lot of people say they church hurt and this, that, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, you just ended up being disappointed in men. Because unless a nigga beat you or molested you, then they ain't really did nothing to you. Because the type of stuff that people do to people in church, niggas do that to niggas on the street every day. You don't see a nigga walking around here talking about I'm job hurt, I'm family hurt. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the stuff that people do to one another. That people do that in life every day. I believe this is my personal opinion, because I ain't never been in no church. I think a lot of people that use that church hurt as the excuse of doing what I wanted to do anyway. Because unless somebody directly did something to you that could actually hurt you, harm you, or scar you mentally, physically, or emotionally, what did it half of the time when niggas say they church hurt, what has these people done to them? Like, if you actually delve into it, what did them people actually do to you?
See, I've never dug into it. Maybe they did get beat, but I don't know.
Some people do get molested. I don't deny that.
It was enough to get me to like to almost even like go question the pastor why you did that to them. They were crying about that. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes, you know what some people be crying about? Because their feelings got hurt. Because somebody said something to them they didn't want to hear or didn't approve. I seen a woman cry because a pastor wouldn't christen her son because he was born out of wedlock. And she was mad with him. Because he said, I can't do that. I will not do that. He's supposed to be a pastor. He stood on the word. She was mad. And she could say she was church hurt because he didn't yield to her request. Sometimes people, what they call church hurt is that somebody didn't go along with some crap they had going on, and they trying to make themselves look like to be the victim. I'm not saying that that's all the time, because some people doing some sour stuff. Some people be church hurt because they find out the people were stealing all the money. Some of them be hurt because they held the pastor to a high regard and they were sleeping with the members. But again, that's you putting your trust in a man. So you brought that on yourself. Because you ain't supposed to be doing that no way. You know what I'm saying? But then some people literally do things to people. Sometimes they don't. So it's a case-by-case basis. You would actually have to have a conversation with a person to find out what their beef actually is.
It was enough, like I said, based off the relationship that me and that person had, it was enough for me to just like, just approach.
Word. Go ahead, man. Now, when we look at he gave life to the bitter soul, we know that he gave life. Give me James 2:5. We know he gave life to all those who suffer for his sake. But you got to be willing to endure, though. So I know we started something in 1 Peter chapter 4. We ain't go back to it, but he say judgment started at the house of Elohim. That's why judgment had to come on. That's why Simeon was nervous. Reuben and Simeon were nervous that judgment would fall on them. You know what I'm saying? That's why they were nervous, because they know the judgment had to start with them. But he said and guess what he did to Joseph? Was not Joseph a bitter in soul when he was in that pit? And he gave him life. Go ahead. We are James 2:5.
It says, hearken, my beloved brethren, Have not Elohim chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom which he had promised to them that
Rich in
love
faith.
him?
So, because guess what? If you were the poor of this world, wouldn't you think you might be bitter in soul, in anguish and in sufferings? But you rich in faith, though. And that goes back to your inward parts being filled with pleasant riches. Because faith is what you want to be filled with. But what we got to get at, man? Come on back to Job 3, man. I just wanted to hear verse 21.
You sharing.
It say, which long for death.
Which long for what?
Death.
Mm-hmm.
But it cometh not. And dig for more than hidden treasures.
You see what it is? So they long for death, but it don't come.
Don't play again.
It ain't too many people would even sit back to think that somebody would long for death and that they would desire it. But this is why Paul said to live in Hamashiach is life and the death is gain. But people think, oh, that nigga's suicidal or this, that, there, and the third, because that gives you the opportunity to go be with Elohim. See, most people don't want to die because they know when they die they'll be separated from Elohim. You know what I'm saying? Those that arrested him, they ain't worried about dying because they want to go be in his bosom. Because now they don't got to deal with the aspects of anything in this life. This place is horrible. You know what I'm saying? And we be banded about and pulled away with all the shiny stuff they throw on our face because we want to chase after it and run after it. But we don't want to chase after our God with the same fervency of passion. You know what I'm saying? As we like to chase after what it is that we want to do. But what would I need it, man? I'm all off kilter. Go ahead and get me Ephesians. 2 Timothy 1 and 4. And then we'll swing to Isaiah 51. We got to do some quick hitters. What you doing, Henry? What you doing, Henry? Go ahead.
It says, greatly desiring to see thee, being merciful, mindful of thy tears, that I may be filled with joy. Mm-hmm. When I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois and thy mother Eunice, I am persuaded that in thee also, wherefore I put thee in remembrance that thou stir up the gift of Elohim which is in thee by the putting off of my hands. Mm-hmm. For Elohim hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. But be not therefore ashamed of the testimony of our Master, nor of me his prisoner.
Now don't be ashamed of him his prisoner.
But be thou partaker of afflictions of the gospel according to the power of Elohim.
Say be a partaker of those afflictions, right? Let's look at something. Judges 5 and 10. That's what it was. He threw me off a little bit.
It says, speak ye that ride on the white asses, ye that sit in judgment and walk by the way. They that are delivered from the noise of archers and the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of Yahuwah, and even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his villages of Yasharal. Then shall the people of Yahuwah go down to the gates.
Go ahead.
Awake, awake, Deborah. Awake,
hold on, didn't we talk about awaken last night? What did he tell? Go ahead. Do what?
Awake, awake, and utter a song. Arise, Barak, and lead thy captivity.
Arise who?
Barak.
Barak means what? No.
That's thunder.
Thunder or lightning. And go ahead. Lead what? Go ahead and say it. Arise, Barak. Barak means lightning. That's why people thought that said Barack Obama was the Antichrist. See, his name means lightning. And Jesus said he saw lightning falling from heaven. See, he's the devil. And then he did 8 years and nothing happened, and now Donald Trump is the devil. And he living his life. Go ahead, man.
And lead thy captivity captive, thy son of Abinoam.
Anybody know what Abinoam name means?
My father is righteous.
My father is gracious. So my father is Khan. My father is a separated seed. Now this is the woman saying about the son to arise to lead captivity captive of the separated seed. Is Elohim separate? Is he separate? Well, let's look at something. As Psalm 68 and 16. Psalm 68 and 16.
It says, why leap thee, ye high hills? This is the hill of Elohim, desired to dwell in. Yea, Yahuwah will dwell in it forever. The chariots of Elohim are 20,000, even thousands of Malachim, and Yahuwah is among them, as in Sinai, in the Kadash place. Thou hast ascended on high, thou hast led captivity captive. Thou hast received gifts of men. Yea, for the rebellious also that Yahuwah.
That's good. He say he ascended on high, and we mentioned Romans 3 and 5, and he threw us off. But in Romans 3, he quotes Ecclesiastes when he said, "All have sinned and done what? All of us have sinned and fall short." And didn't he say in Romans chapter 5 that while we were yet sinners, Mashiach did what? So he was able to redeem us from that particular cause that we were in. She is telling Barak to arise and to take captivity captive, or to take the house that is destroyed captive. So how was he able to do this? Hebrews 2 and 14. Are you ready to get down there? Let's get down. Because what did he take captive? He took death captive. He took sin captive. Now you're no longer under bondage. Now you're free. Remember how we read in Corinthians, he said, if you are Mashiach, you his free man. All because he bought you and made you he was your redeemer. We ain't go too long fooling with him today. Longer than I would like.
He wants to get off.
Huh?
He wants to get off the chain.
Yeah, that's one longer than I wanted to. Go ahead.
Hebrews 2
and 14.
It says, "For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part in the same.
That he might what?
That through death he might destroy him that had power of death, that is, the adversary, and deliver them who through fear and death were all their lifetime subject to bondage."
So he done freed you from this captive. Because the Father is the separated seed to give you favor and acceptance, he told the lightning or the light to arise. Because remember, he said he gave light to the soul and light to the bitter in soul. Mashiach say he the light of the world, did he not? Now let's come over here to Isaiah 51, man. 51 and 10. So we finna get ready to slide. I got to work that in. Go ahead.
Art thou not that which have dried up the sea, the waters of the great deep, that have made the depths of the sea a way for the ransom to pass over?
Now, how did he do that for the ransom, everybody? When did he dry up the sea?
That's a simple truth.
When they came out of Egypt. And he separated the waters for the... Because it tells you that in the song of Miriam in the 15th chapter of Exodus, so the ransom might pass over. So we sitting here looking at how Yahushua is your kinsman redeemer. Go ahead.
It says, "Therefore the redeemed of Yahuwah shall return and come with singing to Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away. I, even I, am he that comes."
Hold on, read that again, make sure they hear. Listen what he tell you.
It says, "Therefore the redeemed of Yahuwah."
No, verse 12.
It says, "I, even I, am he that comforts you. Who art thou, that thou shouldest be afraid of man that shall die, and of the Son of Man which shall be..."
Remember how we read in Peter last night, he said that all flesh is as grass. So you ain't got no business being afraid of no man. Go ahead. Why you think Mashiach, when he say, "Don't you know I got power to set you free?" He said, "You ain't got power to do nothing over me, man. There's no fear in no man." That shouldn't even happen. Go ahead.
It says, "The captive exile hastened."
You forgot verse 13.
I did. And for God is Yahuwah thy maker, that he stretched forth Shamahim and laid the foundations of earth, and hath feared continually every day because of the fury of the oppressor, as if he were ready to destroy. And where is the fury?
Again, he's saying you lived all your life in fear because of the fury of the oppressor. Because you feared death, because death was your oppressor. Go ahead.
It said, the captive exile hastened that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit.
That he should not die where?
In the pit.
He say the captive exile hastens. So let's look at that. Now, when we look at the captive, it's going to be something different. That captive exile, that word is sa'ah, and it means to bend or to tip over. It also means to imprison or conquer or a wanderer. So we see that Mashiach was that captive exile that hastened, that he might be loosed. What does the Apostle Peter tell him in Acts chapter 2? That he was loosed from the pains of death because it was impossible that he could be held by it. That's why he didn't die in the pit. He didn't suffer his Kadesh one to see corruption. So if you believe that the wages of sin is death, but the gift of eternal life is through Yahushua HaMashiach, then guess what will happen with you then? Then you won't be loosed you won't be left in the pit, nor will your bread fail. What does he mean with the bread won't fail? The word will not fail. Because Elohim is faithful in all that he has promised. He will do exactly what he said he going to do when he say he going to do it for the righteous. But we still got more stuff to the prison. He threw me off, but hallelujah for Yahushua. We'll see something right now.